I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. I'm gonna start inviting people real soon. See what happens here. We got a good fight, relatively good fight coming up on Saturday. I think it's gonna be an interesting one, at least on paper. Could turn to be a snooze fest. But that might be because one of the participants is just that good. But anyway, listen, we'll get to that. Before we get down to the fun, fellas, don't forget to donate via the Super Chat if you can, or via the PayPal page or the Patreon page. It really does keep us going. But of course, the most important thing is that you continue to like and subscribe and to spread the BDA gospel. The BDA gospel does not spread by itself because it is not a whore. So it needs your help to reach the unwashed masses. Other than that, let's go ahead and say hi to a lot of the people in the chat room here. Jim McDonald, The Logical Man, Connor K, Mr. Straight 50, King Frog, Virtuoso, Ivan M, Connor K, Redman, Johnny Boy, Andres Fernandez, Wesley M, Solo Johnson, Wayne Hennessy, Kid Top Skull, The Quags, Rich Curick, Joel Upton Park, Chris K, aka Undercover Asian, Christopher Roman, and many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We are going to be talking about Liam Williams and Demetrius Andrade, of course, will be fighting this Saturday. 160 pounds. I don't know if there's a title on the line. You guys know I don't care about that stuff. But since some of you might care, let's just go ahead and check old BoxRec here and see what we've got. It says that it will be for the WBO middleweight title. All right. If you care about such things, I mean, I'm pretty sure they do. And it does help the marquee. I think there's going to be a crowd. No, Seminole Hard Rock Hotel. The hell is it? Anyway, you can see how well informed I am about this. I'm not well informed about where the fight's taking place, but I am well informed. I've been rewatching these guys' fights. And man, let me tell you, I think we could go both ways, obviously. But I'm interested to hear how you guys think it's going to turn and about how good Andrade is. I already see some people criticizing him. The Quack says Andrade is awful. Friendly Fire says, I thought Andrade retired. I haven't seen him in ages. Well, he's fought a couple of nondescript opponents, and he had the goal to call Liam Williams' opposition into question, which is true. I mean, Liam Williams has not been fighting anybody good. His best opponent is Callum Smith. But and Andrade has fought better opposition, but still not by that much the last 2 years. Somebody says, hold on a second, if he passes Liam, then he's no Hypejob. Andrade is sleeping him, says King Frog. I don't really see Andrade sleeping many people, man. Virtuoso, shout out to Virtuoso, says Demetrius Andrade is a Hypejob. Thanks for watching. Good night. Now wait a minute. No. We're gonna go deep into this, man. We're not just gonna brush him aside and say he's a Hypejob. The question, by the way, is he a Hypejob or is he the Boogeyman? Because there seems to be two polar opposites in the YouTube community. Some people say he's completely overrated and he's trash, and some people say that he's the Boogeyman and that neither Canelo nor Triple G or even Jermall Charlo wishes to get in the ring with him because they're afraid of him. Andres Fernandez says, I heard Munguia ducked him. Well, look, Munguia looked awful against the Irish dude. So, I mean, you can imagine how Andrade would have made him look, but I don't think Andrade would have been able to hurt Munguia or at least stop him. Okay, Connor K says Williams KOs him inside 6. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Wayne Hennessy says it will be an action-packed fight. Williams is no mug, but Andrade is killed. Well, there's two ways to look at that, man. Jack Culcay is not a big puncher. He doesn't have a stellar win on his record, and yet he managed to give Andrade all he could handle. Oh, by the way, fellas, the phone lines are open, so feel free to call in here. So my thing with Andrade is, I'll tell you right off the bat, obviously he is a boring fighter. Let's just put that out there, man. Sulecki was a good win. In fact, I dare say it's the best win on his record. Sulecki looked very good against Jacobs. But that's his best win. Sulecki, a guy who already lost to Daniel Jacobs. And he tried his darndest, Andrade did, in the earlier rounds to try to make something happen, try to make a statement, go on the offensive. But he's just not wired to do that. His body is not wired to do that. To put the type of pressure necessary to take a guy like Sulecki out is very high indeed. And it can drain you. And I think Andrade realized that by the 6th round. Because by the 6th round, all he was doing was making Sulecki miss, which is impressive, don't get me wrong. But from the offensive point of view, he was just winging left hands over and over. It was not good at all, man. By the way, like the Straight G Tour says, like the video, like. Now, by the way, somebody mentioned Demetrius Andrade's fashion sense. And I wrote on Google Images, Demetrius Andrade fashion style. You see him here in a photograph at some sort of red carpet event. You can obviously tell that it's not that cold outside, and yet he's wearing a scarf. Anytime it's not that cold outside and you're wearing a scarf, that's bad news, man. It's not a good look. Speaking of bad looks, take a look at this guy over here. Look at him. He's wearing Auschwitz pants. Like he's about to jump into an oven or something. Get out of here. These people don't know how to dress anymore. They need me. They need to give me a call. Because I'm a fashion freak, let me tell you. I'll make you look good. And no, I am not a homosexual, by the way. And yet I still managed to make you look good. So what does that tell you about my fashion sense? Speaking of sense, let's invite a couple of people over here because I'm rambling. Let's see if Gonzalo's in. And I don't know if Stu usually at this time in the day, he's already sleeping. It's already 11. Speaking of time, by the way, good news for us fans in terms of the fight that will be taking place this Saturday. It's going to be taking place at about 6 p.m. Eastern time here because they're saying that they're doing it for the British audience. I suspect, as some people said in the Discord, that it's because they don't want to go up against the Jake Paul versus what's the guy's name, Ben Askren fight. But I mean, whatever the case might be, it's very good, man. So we're going to get the main event at about 6 p.m. Eastern here, and we won't have to stay up until midnight or whatever to do a post-fight show. So that is good news indeed. Stu, are you there? Stu, can you hear me? All right, I think he'll be right. I think he'll be in. I see we got Stu in there. I forgot to invite Jay as well. But yeah, Demetrius Andrade, man. Yeah, Stu, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you, man.
I can hear you now.
Oh, I can hear you now. Okay, fantastic. How you doing, man? I'm surprised you're still awake, man.
I'm lying in bed, bro, man. I'm pretty tired, but I thought I'd come on for a bit.
Good. Well, thank you for being on, man. By the way, fellas, phone lines are open if you want to weigh in on this subject. Stu, I'm curious to hear your take on this. We got Demetrius Andrade versus Liam Williams. We talked briefly about it in the last episode. What's your take on Demetrius Andrade? Hypejob, Boogeyman, or something in between?
Certainly in the Boogeyman. I've not heard. I don't think there's one fighter out there that's ducking Andrade. I know his fans like to say Golovkin was, but Golovkin was going through that guy like a doorway, man. I think it's a bit of a hype job, to be honest with you. I've seen nothing from this guy to be convinced that he beats any of the top guys. I mean, not for me. Never has been. Picking Liam Williams by KO.
Okay, now, I remember you mentioned that in the last episode, and I was thinking, whoa, could you expand upon that a little bit? What do you see in Liam Williams that makes you think he can pull that off?
Just punches. At the moment, punching very hard, and he's looking quite sharp. And it's the best form I've seen him in. Obviously, at 154, I think the weight was a problem for him, struggling to make the weight, and he lost to Liam Smith in a close fight. I mean, doesn't look good, that doesn't, but he's a lot better fighting. Andrade's just too easy to hit at times, and he's very vulnerable at times. Andrade, anyone with big power catches that guy, you're going to see that, but you've not seen it before because Andrade, he doesn't fight anyone that's got power, really. I mean, even first thing he did was go after Billy Joe. I mean, the guy that doesn't have any, I find that Liam Williams is a lot better fighter than people think. I just think all it takes is a good combination on Andrade. That could be nice. Just don't think he's very durable. I mean, he called Kai looked like Carlos Monson in there, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Didn't he, that night? I mean, just ridiculous. Culcay was rocking into his boots. And if Culcay's doing that, I think Liam Williams can catch him too. But you never know. I mean, he's quite tricky at times, Andrade, and he can be quite boring to watch. I've just got a sneaky feeling that Liam Williams is going to pull this up.
You mentioned the Culcay fight. That is really one of the big red flags there for Andrade, because look, Culcay gives everybody. That guy's a psycho, by the way. Culcay, he was slugging it out a little bit in certain parts against Derevchenko, so he really is a tough dude. But he's not. We're talking now with Andrade because some people are making him out to be the boogeyman. So if he's the boogeyman, you would expect him to either have a field day with Canelo and Triple G and Charlo, or at least be on par with them. But he's struggling against Culcay. Again, that means he's probably more towards the Culcay level rather than the Triple G, Charlo, Canelo level, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but what is there to be scared about? I mean, he's not starching anyone out with one shot. He's not Chocolatito when it comes to angles and work rate. I mean, what is it? I mean, even on with the back foot boxing, he's okay. He's no fucking Mayweather, is he? I mean, I just don't get all the first. I picked Billy Joe to beat him before Billy Joe fucked everything up like he usually does. I mean, that was a fight I was looking forward to. I was waiting for Andrade to get his ass whooped. But that Billy Joe, you just can't rely on that guy for anything, can you?
Do you think?
Fucking clown.
Do you think? Do you think the Billy Joe Saunders versus Andrade fight would have gone a little bit like it did with Willie Monroe?
I mean, yeah, it'd have been a cagey affair. I think it'd have been a cagey affair. But Saunders, when Saunders lets his hands go, he's quite dangerous. I mean, he had Lemieux all over the place. He dropped Andy Lee heavily twice. He's more than capable of hurting these guys. It's just he's going to have to get the stoppage. I think he'd have to get the stoppage with Andrade. I think it'd be a big ask for him to get points winning the States against Andrade.
Yeah, let's not
especially
forget
especially the way Billy Joe fights, because the way Billy Joe fights, he's never really, apart from Lemieux, he's never really winning the rounds comfortably anyway. He just doesn't do enough work rate for me. He hasn't got enough work rate, so he's sneaking these rounds at times. And when you're away from home, you've got to be do a bit more than sneaking them. You've got to win them convincingly. And I just think that's the only problem I've got with Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah,
Saunders
man.
is the sort of guy. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like that's why I just give him no hope against Canelo.
By the way, hold on. People are saying the number's not working. I want to get back to what you said, Stu. But okay, but before we get to that, shout out to Brian. He says, who donated the super chat. He says, Andrade only fought bums, pool boys, McDonald's workers, and my Uber driver. Well, thank you for the contribution, Brian. I disagree with that. I mean, Martirosyan, Sulecki, and Culcay are good fighters, but it's about how they looked against them. Real quick, shout out to Jason Bornsky as well, who don't even super chat as well. Says, I agree with Stu for once, or maybe twice. Bobo is Dodo. Oh, well, shout out to Jason Bornsky. I think the hell just froze over because he agreed with Stu there. All right, let me see if the phone lines are working real quick because people are saying that they might not be. 262, you're on the air. 262, can you hear me?
Hey, how we doing over there, boys?
Oh, it's Johnny Boy. How you doing, man?
Hey, Stewart, how we doing? Here, listen.
Hey, Gonzalo's
Okay,
here
so
too, by the
Let me
way.
tell you like this. How we doing, Stu? Here.
I'm good.
Andre's a fucking hype job and a bum. He's got dreadlocks
here we
like
go.
fucking T-Pain from 2007. Okay? Some yellow fucking tarantula head-looking creature. He's also, listen, I watched the interview that he did on another channel that I'm not going to mention, but he didn't do anything but talk about him. He didn't do anything to big up himself. All he did was talk about Canelo and Golovkin and promote them. First of all, you're not entitled to a Canelo or a Golovkin fight because you fought diddly squat in the fucking division. You haven't fought a single top 10 opponent, and you got awarded a belt for, and you got awarded a belt for fighting an absolute nobody. I bet you if I asked 99.9% of the chat right now, no, without Google, nobody could even remember the dude's name who Andrade won his title from. Okay? That's how bad it is. But somehow, a serial killer from Kazakhstan and a fucking freckled, juiced-up Hulk machine from Mexico are scared of this little twerp? Get the fuck out of here. I like Liam Williams. I hope he breaks his fucking rib cage. He's a bit like me, Liam Williams, when I used to box a bit. He likes to go to the body. He punches hard. He's about the same size, 5'10", 5'11". I hope he breaks Andre's fucking rib cage, knocks his dreads off. I hope he knocks his dreads off so hard they fly off his head like fucking ninja stars and start hitting people in the crowd like a fucking Hellraiser. You understand?
Like a nail bomb.
Yeah.
All right, now wait a minute. Now we got to get to a couple of things here. First of all, what was the website you said where you saw an interview? Yeah, with Andrade.
Oh, there's some guy. It doesn't matter.
I want to see it though.
Some guy. Oh, well, I'll talk to you on the Discord.
What's going on here?
What's this?
What's this? There's some shadow play afoot. Well, and okay, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, Johnny Boy, is this whole bum thing. It's not a good look for you to go around calling everybody bum, because then it makes you look like a guy that can't formulate criticism in a concise manner. It's very easy to go ahead and call people bums. You know, that's what some people that do when they talk about a guy's resume. When they just hate the guy and they want to say, oh, you know what, let me downplay him. Let me just say he's a bum and that everybody he fought are bum. You said the same thing about Conor Benn on Saturday. I mean, come on, you can't go around. We gotta put some limits here and define what a bum is and what a bum isn't.
Wait a minute. First off, on Saturday, I was provoked into saying that because some little shithead fanboy in your Discord kept trying to push my buttons.
Oh, come on. We both know that's not true, man.
Oh, you bullshit. It ain't true. And the second of all, again, what's the guy's name that Andrade won his title off?
Wasn't it at middleweight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who? I don't know. I don't follow this shit. I didn't even know he had a title until I checked
that's
Boxer.
my point, BDA. That's my point.
But that doesn't mean he's a bum, is what I'm saying.
He's got a bum resume because he's got a bum resume.
Oh, come on. Look, if you beat Martirosyan and Sulecki and Culcay, you're not a bum. I'm not saying he's a boogeyman. I've never been on that train, but to call him a bum, you're going on the other side of the spectrum there, Johnny Boy. Come on, man.
He's okay. Well, okay. I'm sorry. He's a hype job, not a bum. I'm sorry. That's
I can go with that. See, I can go with that. I can go with that. All right. So, but now on to the actual fight, Johnny Boy. On to the actual fight. He's fighting Liam Williams. He's a strong guy, Liam Williams. If you want to talk about resumes, the best guy on his record is Liam Smith, and he couldn't even beat him. Although, again, some people think he actually, Williams actually won the fight. What does he have to do to beat Andrade, if he can at all?
Go to the body. Go to the body. It's that simple. Take his legs away. He's taller than you. He's got reach on you. Hit what's close to you. Hit his fucking arms and his chest and his rib cage. It's that simple.
Now, but second question. Will he be able to pull it off?
I hope so. So I can quit having to hear about this bum.
Oh, man. I tell you, we haven't talked about Demetrius Andrade in a while. That's why I made this, because, obviously he's fighting Saturday, but I am very interested to hear what people think about Andrade, because I hear people saying about him, oh, he can beat Triple G, he can beat Charlo, and I'm thinking, I don't know, man.
Yeah, Jesus. Well, dude, and that's what I'm sick of. Even Charlo, as much shit as we've given him over the years, at least he fought Derevyanchenko, who's a top 5-6 guy in the division, okay? Andrade ain't done nothing close to that. He had a fucking... And a lot of people thought Vanas beat him, and we all saw what happened with Vanas and Triple G over there, but we're not even going to talk about that. But, yeah, and that was that one... Like, dude, this guy's a fucking joke. His resume's horrible. I won't call him a bum, but I'll call him a T-Pain-looking cocksucker, okay?
Oh.
He's fucking... I'm sorry. But here, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. But
He actually looks more like. He actually looks more like. He actually looks more. Go ahead.
No, for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be the biggest UK fan on the planet because I want Andre to lose and I want Canelo to lose. So fucking British guys, just Stewart, get these guys pumped up or something and fucking start knocking these dudes the fuck out because I'm sick of them. Do me a favor, will you?
Well, listen, that's Johnny Boy's opinion, and I guess. Hey, by the way, people are saying that the phone lines aren't working. Johnny Boy, how did you get through? Did you hear a message or anything, or?
I called. That's how it got through.
People are saying the call's not working. Noting schedule. I don't know what's going on there, Logical Man. Johnny Boy was able to call in. Maybe reset your.
You know how some of these. Yeah. You know how some of these boys, they like to fucking, I'm not going to mention no names, but you know how some of these boys like to fucking jerk off and carry groceries in at the same time they're trying to dial your phone number.
All right.
I mean, you know.
All right, that makes no sense, man. All right, all right. Well, listen, we got to move on. We got to move on. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your prediction as well. And I'm looking forward to a good fight, man. I hope it works out.
You're welcome.
All right,
have
take
a good
it easy,
day, fellas. Take
you
care.
too, man. Take it easy. All right, so that was Johnny Boy. We got Gonzalo too coming in here on the Discord. Gonzalo, you there?
Hey, what's up, BDA?
How you doing, man? Good to have you on board, man. What do you think about Demetrius Andrade, as the title of the video says? Boogeyman or Hypejob?
Well, he's not a boogeyman, but he's not a hype job either. The reason because he presents a difficult style because of his natural attributes. The long limbs, the long legs, the southpaw style, the getting on the back foot and using those legs to create distance. Maybe like how a panther pounces forward, he moves forward. This guy does the same, but he moves backwards. So a lot of the times, he bases his boxing off the fact that he's got to use his legs to move backwards and create the separation, the correct distance to time you, so he can use his hands to punch. So as he's creating that distance, he's capitalizing that he's going to get the correct distance, while getting at a certain angle with his body, because he is kind of like he's tall and he's gangly, that he leans in a certain angle and tilts his head down, that he's trying to have you to where if you attack him, he's too far away and he's in a position that you're going to miss him. Mm-hmm. But then he's created the distance that when you attack, he's going to counter you and move just a little forward and catch you to where like he can make his boxing work where you can make yours work against him. And that's why he utilizes those natural attributes to kind of get the better of his opponent. And he's not a puncher, but he is a strong guy for that division. I gotta stop because my dog's going fucking bonkers.
Okay, but yeah, what you said about Andrade though, that's exactly, I've been rewatching his fights. That's what he does. He's always on the back foot. He likes to jump back, make guys overcommit, and then he'll jump back. But there's a downside to that because when he fought Martirosyan, I don't know if you guys remember, that's how he got caught. He leaned back, and then as he was coming forward, Martirosyan didn't stop with the right hand. He followed up with a straight left. Boom, caught him straight on the chin, and since he was already leaning back, Andrade that is, he just, boom, he hit the canvas. So you gotta...
and that's for sure, BDA, that's for sure, because that's the opportunity that Liam Williams has. If you were to ask me, what does Liam Williams have to do? He's got to be aggressive. And I agree with Johnny, hit him to the body, because as Andrade leans back, he's going to keep his torso at the same position. The head might be going back, but the torso's actually poking a little forward, or it's in place that you can hit him to the body. And by being aggressive, he's not going to be able to gauge his footwork all the time. Sometimes he's accurate and sometimes he's not. What I'm trying to say, it's not like all or nothing. He's clumsy, but sometimes he's accurate. That's how he's able to knock guys down early. He catches them right on the button. But if you force and you put pressure on him, you're going to force him to be clumsy.
I agree, man. I agree. I think there's something there that he's used to having people fight his fight, and some of the guys he's fought have not pressed on. But if you press him, you will make him uncomfortable. He's good enough that he can maneuver around that, but it will make him uncomfortable. Before we continue, shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution. He says, Amir Khan scared to fight Conor Ben. The Blues won. All right, shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution. I don't quite get the Blues won reference. Is that a football thing? Perhaps it is. All right, let's go to the phone lines real quick. We got a couple of phone calls here. 401, you're on the air. 401, what's on your mind?
All right. So the question was Boogeyman or Hypejob?
That's right.
So he's definitely. I don't know how you can't call this guy a Boogeyman. First things first. I'm not even gonna call Canelo a duck, but Canelo had an opportunity to win the 154 WBO title from him. He was calling Canelo out. Canelo didn't want to fight him. Once he vacated the title, Canelo fought Smith immediately after he vacated the title for that title. Then let's fast forward. They moved to 160. Yeah. Canelo's one title. Oh, hello?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So he's at 160 now. Canelo's one title away from undisputed. What happens? Canelo doesn't fight him. Let's fast forward again. Early in the year, Canelo's trying to negotiate with Billy Joe. Canelo wants to fight Yildirim first. Billy Joe says, you know what? I'm going to fight Demetrius Andrade in February. Then I'll fight Canelo in May. What does Canelo do? He negotiates a 2-fight deal so that Billy Joe Sanders cannot fight Demetrius Andrade before May. So I don't know how you can call that a duck. And then when people try to bring his resume into it, only certain people can demand certain fights. People of Canelo's stature, people like Triple G. Like if you're a star in the sport, okay, you can demand certain fights. But what more can he do? He's came to Charlo's press conferences and challenged him. The guy still doesn't want to fight. He waited for him outside the locker rooms. This is all documented. It's all on YouTube. You can look for it. Charlo still doesn't want to fight. And I feel like, I don't know if the zone is trying to hide this or what, but like if you watch the post fight, they had like a live going for the post fight of Triple G and Derevianchenko. Demetrius Andrade slid into the ring like he's Rey Mysterio or something just to get in front of Triple G and asked him, like, can we make a fight happen? Like, what's going on? He keeps challenging these guys. and they keep dodging him. So I don't understand how you can't. How is that not a boogeyman?
All right, but you said you didn't want to call Canelo a ducker, but everything you're saying indicates that you're saying he did duck.
I mean, if the shoe fits.
All right, now listen, I will say this, that 2016 year for Canelo was a waste of a year. I mean, think about it. He fought Amir Khan, a welterweight. He fights Callum Smith,
right.
who, okay, he was undefeated and he was doing his thing in Europe. But why not fight Andrade? Now, Andrade at that time, who was his best opponent? Who was Andrade's best opponent at that time, though? I'm going to go ahead.
This is the thing, though. I can't really hold his opponents against him because he doesn't have the stature to really demand every fight that he wants. You really think he wants to fight lower tier competition? But these are the guys who are mandatory. These are the only guys willing to get into the ring with him. If it was up to him, if he was a shot caller, if Andrade was as popular as these other guys, he would be getting these fights.
I don't know. It sounds to me like a little bit like.
You can't really use that argument against everyone.
Okay. Well, then let's get away from this guy dodged this guy and that guy, because that's outside of the ring politics, and I mean, who knows what's really going on behind the scenes. If Canelo fights, Andrade. If Andrade fights, let's say Jermall Charlo, who would you pick between those two guys?
Dude, I think it'll be a great fight, but honestly, I feel like unless Demetrius Andrade gets hit with something, and that's not impossible, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think he will outbox Jermall Charlo. But Jermall Charlo, he clearly has the strength.
Yeah, Charlo definitely hits harder. It's interesting, though, because I think with Andrade, if it is true that people are avoiding him, and again, I don't follow this outside the ring drama. I like to focus on the fights and the performances themselves. But if people are avoiding him, it would seem to me that the only thing he can really do is just keep winning. And this Saturday's fight really does seem like that type of fight, because he's got a strong, determined fighter in front of him. And it could be one of those fights where Andrade says, stop, fuck looking good. Just let me get this win and then hope that things sort out and somebody ends up fighting me. Who are you picking for this Saturday's fight?
Honestly, I feel like Liam Williams, his last couple of fights, I honestly didn't know who he was until he fought Alantez Fox in the Eliminator. So I went back and looked at his fights, and he's been getting better, and he's definitely coming in with a lot of momentum. So I feel like if Andrade looks past him, things could get scary. This guy, he's clearly strong. He's been knocking all these guys out, but I don't really feel like he's been. I don't know. These guys aren't really on that elite level, so I don't really want to put too much into it. But I do understand he's coming in with a lot of momentum. So Andrade can beat him. He just can't look past him.
All right. Well, that's a sensible prediction right there. I'm looking forward to a good fight. It is going to be taking place earlier than usual here. It's going to be about 6 p.m. Eastern, so that's good for me, man. I don't want to stay up late at night nowadays. So anyway, listen, we got to move on 401. Thank you for your call. Good call, and call back next time. All right, man?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, let's go to a lot of people. This is an interesting subject. A lot of people want to weigh in on this. Let's go to 346. 346, you're on the air. 346, what's on your mind?
Hey, what up, man? It's Logic, man. I'm in this month, man. Let me say something to Johnny Boy, man. Johnny Boy, I don't know if you're smoking lace weed or whatever, bro, but you out your damn mind. Andre ain't no bum, bro. He got to fight the people that they throw in front of him. He been calling all these dudes, run up in their face, run up on them, but they don't want to fight him. But this fight right here with Liam Williams will prove if he really is that guy. I wouldn't say he's, better than Canelo or Charlo, but he's definitely going to be a top guy that's not, can't underrate him anymore, man. And I can't even, me myself personally, bro, because I actually know his boxing. I've seen Liam fight plenty of times. It's a 50-50 for me, man.
So if
Liam's hungry as fuck.
So if Andrade looks bad in there or struggles, you're not going to hold it against him?
Yeah, I won't hold it against him, man, because Liam he's hungry, man. He's not playing, man. He's on a KO, TKO kind of streak, man. This guy ain't playing, man. He's not coming off a loss, he's coming off win, so he's motivated and ready to go.
And not for nothing, but according to BoxRec here, I think this is something that people are missing here. Williams is actually younger than Andrade. Andrade is already 33.
Yeah. How old is he? Ain't he 30?
Well, according here, let me check. Let me just double check here. I could be wrong. Now, according to BoxRec, Andrade is 33 years old.
Shit, and Liam, he's about 31, ain't he?
28.
20.
It's a 5-year difference according to my math.
So now he has age too, man. Like, people gotta understand something, man. When Andrade run up on Billy Joe Saunders, he popped the test, he failed, he failed his drug test, so, of course he couldn't fight him. But how this man run up on people and trying to get the fights, you cannot hold that against him. Like, what's wrong with people? I can't say that, Canelo's scared of him because, like, Canelo's been fighting, better opposition, of course, who you think Demetrius Andrade will move up to 175 to fight Kovalev? Hell no. Charlo wouldn't even do that. So I can't really say he's ducking him, but I don't know why he's not taking that easy belt because all these guys are bums. Like, they say, Waller's a bum, all these people bums. But when other people have opportunities to fight these guys to get these easy belts, they don't take the opportunity. So that's kind of funny how nobody loses online. They never box in their life, and I can guarantee that, professionally or amateur. Talk about these people are, bums and no one's scared of them. But when other fighters get the opportunity to fight them, they don't take it. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, look, listen. I'm not adverse to calling people bums. I will call a bum if he gives a bum performance. But just because he's boring, I won't call a guy bum for that. Nor if he's a prospect, I won't call him a bum. Stu, you want to say something?
I don't believe Andrade's being ducked because he's a boogeyman. I don't believe fighters look at Andrade, fear this guy. There's just nothing to fear. I mean, what is all the fuss about? You're going to see at the weekend.
That's what I think.
Honestly,
I don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't see what the hell they see in this man to be scared because, first off, he off balance.
Exactly.
He don't got a lot of power. His combination's not always there. So I don't know what they can be scared of, but it just don't make sense how they don't want to take this easy belt. It just don't make sense to me because think about it. If Charlo or Triple G, I guarantee this, if they snatch up Demetrius Andrade belt, come on, man, Canelo's going to come knocking like easy. Come on. So why won't they just take this easy-ass fight? Because, and get the belt. It's something's up, man. They see something that we don't see.
Go ahead, Bucho. Go ahead.
So, caller, are you saying that Andrade is being ducked? Yes or no?
Man, I'm gonna say yes with Triple G and when it was yes Triple G, Billy Joe Saunders, and Charlo.
All right. By the way, can I add something here? Well, yeah, I just want to say, is it possible that the reason why, if he is indeed being ducked, could it be possible that it's because despite he slaps a lot, but he's very good defensively, he makes people look bad, and he doesn't have a large fan base? That's usually kryptonite for any superstar across boxing history. They never really want to fight the guy who's slick, but who doesn't have a fan base, because he'll make you look bad and could potentially beat you, and you're not exactly going to make a mega fight.
Is he hard to hit? Is he hard to hit?
Yeah, he is hard to hit.
Yeah, but hard to hit with these guys that he's been fighting.
That's true.
I mean, look,
curiosity.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
remember though, man, the guys he's been fighting is because he had to fight them. You realize he's been calling out 3 different world title holders, right? I hope you understand that. And they didn't take the fight, right?
Yeah, but people call each other out all the time, though. Yeah, people call each other out.
Yeah, but he actually missed it.
Yeah, but he's calling them out, but who knows if he's actually sending out is his manager or promoter sending out offers, or is he just showing up at press conferences and saying to people, hey, look, I'm calling them out? I mean, what is that? That doesn't convince me.
Shannon Briggs did that. I mean, what does that mean? Do you know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, the fact is, what does Andrade... Canelo's probably looking at it like this. Yeah, he is tricky at times, and Andrade's going to stink the joint in that fight against Canelo. He's not going to take the fight to Canelo. He's going to be fighting on the back foot, try and nick it on points, and then claim he was robbed, like most fighters do these
Yeah,
days.
man, but
You know,
man, you
that's
gotta
going to be his game
Callum.
plan. Survive. And look, for a start, no one wants to
Callum,
really
same thing, but-
see that fight. I'd rather see. Hang on a sec, caller. I'd rather see Canelo in there with Golovkin again, Billy Joe. I'd rather see him in with some of the light heavyweight, even Bivol, someone like that. And anyone but Andrade. I mean, and he's going to want about 10 million as well to bring his mum and his fucking brother with him. That's the only thing that's the only people he's bringing. Type.
Was that caller?
Wait, he wanted 10 million?
No, he's saying he'll probably want 10 million. He's speculating that Andrade is going to ask for a big purse against
I'm about
Canelo.
to say, yeah, his fucking brains. Highest he probably gets like maybe 5 or maybe 6 if Canelo really want to feed him. He's fucking out his fucking brains. But what I can say, man, I'm just ready for this fight. I got days. I'm ready for this, man. This. If anyone talking shit about him after this, I mean, you can't. I don't want these LDBC fanboys to be talking too much. They always do too much. He ain't like he beat a super elite, but he did. Step up his game. Say how Hayden is going to fight Liners. That just don't talk too much about. Oh my God, he's the best. He really is. No, you can't do all that. It just proves that he really is a top guy. And y'all see what kind of skill he got now. Because Liam is not going to sit there like these other clowns. He's coming in, fighting hard, is going to come for that damn body and try to knock his ass out.
Well, let's see what happens. And then we'll see. We'll talk about it once we see his actual performance, man. I'm like you said, I'm looking forward to it because it is an intriguing fight on paper. Anyway, listen, 346.
Yes,
we got to move on, but thank you for your call and
All
call
right,
back
man.
next time. Thank you. Call back next time. Take it easy, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Real quick, shout out to Chris K for his contribution via the super chat. He says Demetrius Poo Andrade is a waste of time. Oh, all right. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution. So you can see that people have different points of view. People are calling in defending Andrade, and then there's people in the chat just saying Andrade ain't all that. Real quick, let's go to another phone call. We got a lot of phone calls. This is a fiery subject. 830, you're on the air. 830, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, 830, you're on the air. Yeah, we can hear you, man. What's on your mind?
All right, here we go. He's going to fight Liam Williams like he fought Luke Keeler. That first 3 rounds, exactly that same style. I just know this is going to happen, but I've seen Andre get rocked. And, all right, say he got rocked by Martirosyan. All right, and Triple G murdered Martirosyan. The math doesn't catch up with me and Andre, dude.
Well, that's the problem, though. You're using boxing math, which doesn't usually work. Like, that triangle theory doesn't necessarily mean that Golovkin would murder Andrade. But I will agree with you and Stu in that Andrade looks very good defensively against guys that fear his power. But then when you get to the upper echelon and you fight a psycho like Culcay, who doesn't really care about the power and who's actually quite crafty, yeah, he will. In that fight, what did you think about the Culcay fight, caller? The Andrade Culcay fight?
Well, he got rocked. Wait. I'm getting confused here, man. Which fight?
How high are you, caller? No, I'm kidding. Now, the Culcay versus Andrade fight.
I'm up in the moon. But I'm saying I've seen Demetrius Andrade get rocked a couple times, and I'm pretty sus on that. You know what I mean? He's really fought nobody. A Walter fight, all right, but when he fought Luke Keeler, he looked real great. But who was he fighting?
That's an excellent question, right there, man. I agree. It's you can only look as good as your opposition, and when he's fighting guys that
you saw that HBO fight with Fox. That HBO fight with Fox, it was back and forth for that first 3 rounds, and then after that, it was just like he gets into his mode where he's defensive savvy, but he wants to be with his foot in the front always. He always wants to do that shit, but he's gonna get rocked like that, man.
Yeah, I think so, man. Look, listen. Liam Williams said that he knows how to fight Andrade and that he's gonna have to pressure. Now, when he fought Callum Smith, he was fighting Callum Smith's game. They were fencing, they were jabbing. He looked strong. He was breaking through Liam Smith.
Jabbing with the shoulder.
Yeah, Liam Smith. Yeah, when he was breaking Liam Smith's guard, so evidently he's got power. Because the only other guy I remember who could break through Smith's guard was Canelo. So Liam Williams is a very strong fighter. But this whole thing of playing,
he's very like John Ryder, where when you look at his record, there's a couple of things on that record that don't look good when you fight. But the thing is,
John Ryder is a good journeyman, I'll tell you that.
But like I said, there was that weights where they was obviously struggling to weight. And as soon as they moved up, them extra few pounds have like given him a new lease of life. So that looks a lot stronger, a lot more energy, and he looks a dangerous guy. What I've seen of Liam Williams, he's hitting these guys and they're staying hit. And like I said, he has to swarm Andrade. He has to, because I got a feeling you put the pressure on Andrade, and I got a feeling he might fall to pieces. I mean, he's had it his own way all his career, fighting at a pace against there's Varnes Martirosyan.
I really love how how the European fighters like Liam Williams are just going to come in, and they're going to come into defense real quick, and then just go into his guard and just start hitting them. And that's where I think he could get caught. He stands up a lot, Andrade. He gets up straight, and then he throws some hooks leaning in often, like real quick.
Them hooks are quite wide as well. I mean, he's open to a big straight right down the pipe.
Andrade.
Wide open to that.
If Liam Williams kicks his forehead real close in his guard, just fighting inside, I think he has a good shot of catching Andrade, because he's going to want his space. And he loves that hook, man. He loves that hook.
Yeah, Andrade can fight on the inside too, but like Stu said, and you said too, Caller, I think he might get out of his comfort zone there and actually start spending his stamina more. I don't think he's used to having people walk through his shots and going after him like Culcay did, and in that fight he was very, very tired. Anyway, listen, Caller, we're gonna move on. But hey, by the way, I hear something in the background. I hear something in your background. Hold on, what is it? Oh, okay, I see what's going on. All right, take it. Enjoy the rest of your night, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, have a great time.
All right, don't fly away though. Stay back here on Earth with us. All right.
Jimmy also.
Yeah, Jimmy, how you doing, man? Hey, listen,
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man? We actually have to get back to the phones because this question here we're asking Jimmy.
I was just saying bye back.
No.
Hi, that's all, brother.
No, because it's set off a firestorm. A lot of people are calling in to give us their opinion on whether Andrade is a hype job or is he indeed the boogeyman, as some people claim. Let's go to 559 real quick. 559, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I want to tell you guys are stooping down to a new low, making a Andrade fucking a whole theme on Andrade. That's a fucking new low for you guys.
Wait a minute. I disagree. But anyway, go ahead.
Nobody wants to see Andrade fight. He couldn't even fill in a nightclub on Super Bowl weekend in Miami. He couldn't fill that shit. You know what? Look, no one's calling out Andrade for the same reason that no one's calling out Joey Gonzalez, because nobody gives a fuck. I don't think anyone respects that guy. What boxer honestly respects Andrade? If you're a boxer, or a hardcore boxing fan for that matter, you know what the fuck type of career he's going for. He's going for that, I'm going to build up my resume and cash out eventually. I think Canelo just gets fucking like frustrated with that. I think people that ask him about Andrade, he just feels like, oh, you guys really fucking buying that hype. I mean, I don't think he really gives a shit about him, or even thinks he's an actual boxer, or he's only fighting twice a year most years, other than this year, but he's not gonna waste a Cinco de Mayo with Andrade, and I don't want him to be fucking honest.
Oh.
If it was up to me,
I agree with the second half of what the caller said.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, but Caller, you said he couldn't fill up a nightclub. How about the Andrade? How about a gay nightclub? You don't think he could build that or fill that up?
No, because his fashion sense sucks. he fucking dresses like if he's a son of Prince. I don't fucking understand that motherfucker, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the only person that looks forward to his fights is Joshua Greer because he can fucking sell pillows. That's the only motherfucker looking forward to him fighting. Nobody sees him. Who the fuck wants to see him?
This guy's doing stand-up, man.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
okay.
Andrade's just that one guy in that division where you just don't care, do you? I mean, whenever anyone says Andrade's, unless it's Liam Williams because he's a Brit, so I'm more into this one. But usually when someone says Andrade's fighting, I'm like, tell someone that cares. I mean, that's where I am with Andrade. When I hear his name, nothing happens. It's not, I don't get excited. I don't want to talk about boxing and nothing. The guys give me nothing to get up for.
Because you don't appreciate the sweet science. That's why
we're
you
talking
don't
about his
appreciate.
best fights in Varnes, Martirosyan, and Culcay for crying out. And this is where we are. And how this guy has managed to nick belts. It's just amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing how he can hold his head up high, walking around with that fucking belt. Yeah.
You don't appreciate technique. You don't appreciate the sweet science.
I appreciate
That's
that
why,
he's got talent. He's got some sort of talent. Of course he is. He's not a bum. I'm not going to have it. He's a bum. But what has he done for me to get excited about this guy? What has he done? Nothing. And this is about the only fight I've ever been interested in with Andrade in. There's times when I don't even watch his fights.
Well, caller, let me ask you this, man. I mean, Stu's being pretty harsh on Andrade, just like you are. If he beats Liam Williams in impressive fashion and like washes him 12-0, whatever, or even stops him, you never know. Do you think he will deserve a big fight or a mid-level fight at least, or what's your opinion on that?
I mean, if you're talking about deserve, of course he doesn't fucking deserve. What the fuck has he done to deserve it? I mean, the only thing that he's done to deserve it is have an undefeated record, which is what casual fans look at. Oh, he fucking undefeated? He must be good. Fuck no, he doesn't deserve it. What the fuck? You know damn well he doesn't deserve it. He's just... Look, he's just an annoying fucking... people talk about his style, right? It's a difficult fucking style. But I don't see... It is a difficult style, but I don't see the skill in it. As much as he's not going to let you hit him because he's backing up all the time. So it's hard to connect, right? But I don't really see the skill as he's doing it. It's not like, I could see the skill going back and doing all this shit and countering you. Andrade, there's nothing. It's just difficult to these guys with slow feet that plant their feet to try to throw a shot. That's difficult for them.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, my thing is this. I've been following. Listen, how long do you think he's been a pro for? Just guess off the top of your head.
13 years? I don't know.
Yep. Very good, you fuck. I guess how it goes, 13 years. 13 years. This dude has not fought anyone. So how can we judge truly his skill level when the level of competition, his best win is Martirosyan in 13 years, who, by the way, put him on his ass. So, he went life and death with Martirosyan, got put on his ass, and in 13 years has never fought anybody. It's like if I was to go out when I was in my prime in hockey and play like high school level kids. Yeah, what am I going to go around pump my fist after I score on a high school level goalie? It's just like, of course I'm going to look like I got great skill. You know what I mean? I want to see what you do against the top of your division, and he's not even come close to doing that. So, to be honest with you, after this much time, I hear his name like Stu. I'm not going to invest any time and emotion into a kid who just treats the sport like an afterthought. You know what I mean? He'd rather fucking be on. His biggest headline is signing with Rock Nation and getting an argument with them. It's been a fucking circus show. Those people would say, "No, you don't understand. You don't appreciate the true talent or the this and that." It's like, shut the fuck up. Just get away from me with that shit.
I want to get back to that.
Piece.
I want to get back to that, but caller, we have to move on to another call. But thank you for your call. We'll call back next time. We'll catch you in the next one, all right, man?
Thank you, guys.
PDA.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
The caller's cool. He sounds like Tony Montana from Scarface when he's arguing with Michelle Pfeiffer. You can't even have kids. What the fuck?
Yeah, your womb is
Fly Pelican.
Your womb is so polluted. But hey, I like the caller. I like how he called Andrade annoying because I think a lot of people do find him annoying, but they just don't want to say it. Real quick, we got a lot of phone calls to get to here. 978, you're on the air. 978, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, 978, you're on the air.
Hello? You can hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. No, honestly, I find it kind of crazy that people think Andrade's a hype job. I feel like there's too many patterns, too many coincidences that should speak volumes. He's been avoided by the bigger names. It's hard to have a resume when top guys don't want to fight you. It started at 154. Like, I think a caller mentioned it earlier. He just got one thing wrong. Andrade never vacated his WBO belt. He got stripped due to inactivity. And when Andrade was literally publicly calling out Canelo when Canelo was his mandatory, Canelo's word for word was, I don't fight for belts, I want legacy fights. And I'm pretty sure Canelo was competing at 155, which makes no sense, but that's what he was doing at the time. Whatever, Andrade gets stripped due to inactivity. Canelo comes back down to 154 and fights Liam Smith for the same exact belt that he said he doesn't fight for belts. I feel like that's
heard this story, caller. Caller, sorry to interrupt. We've just had a caller, and he's told us this exact thing. The thing is, it doesn't matter. Just look at, you've got eyes, they work. You tell me what Andrade does that convinces you he can beat Canelo, whether Canelo's ducking him or not. Because I'll tell you what, I bet everything I own, Canelo goes through this fucking guy like a doorway.
Whoa.
But you just,
I
tell
like
me
Canelo felt
what
that way.
Andrade
felt that way. That fight would have been happening. Like, Canelo didn't run through Lara. Lara doesn't have that athleticism or the defensive ability that Andrade does. And Andrade has a way higher work rate. Canelo sees things that you don't see. Canelo knows that's not an easy fight. When Canelo was asked about the Andrade fight at 160 after he beat Danny Jacobs, he said Andrade is born. What does that even mean? It's not fun to get punched in the face and not be able to punch somebody back. That's what that means.
I mean,
Andrade knows. Canelo knows.
You're demanding $37 million for a fight.
He did not talk about money. He said he'd be willing to take a pay cut.
Listen, Canelo
he'd be willing to
stays
take a
now.
pay cut to fight Canelo.
Yeah, but listen, look, we
I
can
feel
sit here
like
and argue all day long.
fans
Right?
don't wanna see
The
Andrade
day
fight.
Andrade signs to take that fight is a day he gets knocked the fuck out in devastating fashion. And you can take that to the bank.
Can I just ask the caller a question
If
real
Canelo
quick?
felt that way, that fight would have happened.
But
That fight
okay,
would've
go ahead,
fought.
Jimmy.
Well,
let
me ask the caller a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you say he was avoided, now what is that? Now what exactly does that mean? Did he make contract offers to anyone, or did he just talk on Twitter saying, "Oh, I want to fight the best," and then the best didn't come? That's not people ducking. When you send a contract offer, first off, it's as this boxing, as we know, it's a business too. Just because if you got a kid like Andrade who can't fucking draw flies to a fucking pile of shit, let's just be honest, he was kicked off fucking HBO, he's been kicked off everywhere he goes because his numbers are atrocious. So you're fighting him, as a fighter champion, you're carrying, but listen to me, you're carrying the promotion. So you got to figure that into it too. But my point being, when he was with Rock Nation, he never made an contract offer to anybody. There's no contract offers, so nobody ducks you unless you make a contract offer and they turn it down.
But let's get back to the original question, though. The question is he a hype job or is he avoided? I feel like
no, I don't think he's a hype job.
If he was a hype job, he would have already.
No, because I don't know anyone who's hyping him apart from a group from America, say hashtag LDBC. They're the only ones hyping this guy. Most people on the BDA, well, you've heard what we've had to say. Most people in the chat have got nothing good to say about this guy. I mean, look, it's not even they're saying that they don't like him, they don't rate him. They detest this guy. This guy, I mean, look, they don't rate him, they don't like him. I mean, there's just no one around calling for this guy.
Well, just to clarify, just to clarify, according to the BDA Research and Development team, our audience is quite diverse. It's not all just Brits. But let me ask you this, man. Let's get to the nitty gritty of it. Because again, Hypejob or Boogeyman. Boogeyman would indicate that he can actually beat Canelo and that they know this and that's why they don't want to fight him. But I want to ask you, what do you think happens if...
say he can't. What was that?
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you your opinion on what happens if they ever do fight Andrade and Canelo or Andrade and Triple G. Or Charlo even. Charlo too.
Honestly, my biggest question when it comes to Andrade is how would he handle a big lights? He's never fought on a stage that big. That's my biggest concern. But as far as ability, I feel like he could for sure beat those guys. I don't necessarily favor him to do it, but like the way he's being talked about, like he's some type of pushover. Like if that was the case, these guys would have been fought him. It would have been happened a long time ago.
That's
why,
not
like,
true.
How do you not want to?
Not at all.
How do you
You know what his style is, man?
You know what I mean?
His style is horrible. His style is horrible, but he can prove to be a nightmare for somebody. And I can see why fighters like Canelo and Triple G might not want to fight him, because that means they got to be chasing them down the entire night, man. It's easier for a fighter to try to get it away from you, and you chase him while he's trying to play tag, and he's scoring on you, and you're trying to knock him out, and he's trying to keep himself from getting knocked out while you're scoring a pop shot here and there. That's the thing, man. That's what he's doing. He's a horrible style that can prove to be a nightmare to some fighters. That's all.
All right. Okay. We get your point, Gazelle.
It's not fun.
It's not fun. Yeah, you're right. But here's the thing, though.
No,
when we talk about, but I just want to clarify something about the ducking thing, because Canelo ended up fighting Triple G twice, Daniel Jacobs.
When did he fight Triple G? Hold on. Let's talk about Triple G. When the WBC mandated Canelo from Triple G for the belt, he threw the belt in the trash. He fought Triple G after Triple G looked like a human fighting Daniel Jacobs. Let's be serious. He never had
but he fought him. But he fought him.
He waited to fight Triple G.
Right. But what I'm saying is he fought him, and he fought a much more dangerous and proven guy than Andrade. Then he fought Daniel Jacobs. Again, a more proven fight. But hold on. Let me finish, caller. Caller, let me finish. Caller, you gotta let me finish, please. Caller, let me finish, please.
Triple G is much better than Andrade.
Yeah,
come on. Are you serious?
Let me just finish.
Kovalev is. Callum Smith would knock Andrade out.
Kovalev is 30.
I don't know about that, but
he was far from the question.
You guys might think I'm overreacting. You guys might think I'm overreacting.
But my point is,
oh my god!
Yeah, caller.
Jesus, brother, let them talk, dude.
All right, I had to mute him. because he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't get.
Jesus Christ, he doesn't understand how a conversation works.
Let me just finish here. So I think you guys get my point. He fought Triple G twice. He fought Daniel Jacobs, who's more proven than Andrade.
Triple G,
caller. I'm gonna have to mute you again, man. He fought Daniel Jacobs, who's more proven than Andrade, and he fought Kovalev at 175. So how is that avoiding Andrade? His best opponent at this point right now is Sulecki. So how is that avoiding a guy who?
The only guy who was willing to get in the ring with him. You guys keep bringing up the resume.
My God.
Caller.
No one knocking Andrade. Billy Joe Saunders went to fight him in Boston. And Eddie Hearn had to come up with this the Boston Commission basically banned Billy Joe, but for a substance that he was allowed to use in the UK. So it's like he turned up with.
But we're not fighting in the UK, so what does that even mean?
Okay, but hold on. Let's get back to what I said. Let's get back to what I said, because the narrative brought forward was that Canelo was ducked Andrade. But how is he ducking somebody?
Sure,
how is that ducking somebody? If he fought guys that were better than Andrade, more proven, how is that ducking? That's what I want to hear.
Punchers. When you're facing the Canelo, a Triple G, or when you're facing the Canelo, a Triple G, or a Kovalev, you got to worry about blocking and getting out, protecting yourself from not getting knocked out. But you're gonna get hit, and that's something that you got to overcome and see through. And if you don't, I mean, that's boxing. You're gonna get knocked out. But when you're facing an Andrade, none of that's gonna happen. You gotta worry more about trying to catch up to the guy, because the guy's gonna try to make it into something very complicated for you, and that's the problem he presents. But that's about it.
Yeah, but honestly, like I feel like I don't know if you guys have ever boxed. It's way better to be in there with a puncher than a guy who has skills and can adjust on the fly. I feel like Andrade has built-in defense. Like, honestly, he walks forward. Like, watch him fight. I feel like there's a lot of things that he does that people don't see because they never really grew up boxing. Like, you brought up Daniel Jacobs.
It doesn't matter. I'm not having that.
One at a time.
Let me say something now, because I've been in about 5 times.
You guys bring up Daniel Jacobs?
Look, it doesn't matter whether I've been in 30 wars. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I've got eyes. I can see what I'm seeing. Andrade has never been pushed to any sort of pace. He's never been pushed to the limits. He hasn't had to dig deep. He's never been hit hard by a big puncher. He's had it all his own way, fighting nobodies really. I mean, apart from Varnes Martirosyan, who everybody beats. I mean, look, and he's just had it his own way. We're gonna, when he starts stepping up, that's when you'll see the limitations of this guy. Look,
when are they going to give him?
Of course, he looks $1 million. Of course, he looks $1 million against these guys. He's fine. And
but you know what?
Selesky, let's be real. Selesky's average at best.
Okay, you know what the problem is?
Okay.
You know what the problem here is?
Jacobs hell. You guys are talking highly about Jacobs. Selecki arguably beat Jacobs. I was in the building in Brooklyn that day. Selecki gave Jacobs a great fight.
Yeah, you're making things up to bolster your argument, man. Listen, the point is this: the problem we got here is a circular argument. It's Demetrius Andrade has never beaten anybody. Well, that's because people fear him. Well, why do people fear him? Oh, because he's so good. So that's a circular argument right there. The fact of the matter is,
exactly.
if you wanna say Jacobs lost to Sulecki, I disagree. But then you could also say Andrade lost to Culcay. That's hardly a boogeyman to me, Maciek, for Demetrius Andrade. Well, listen, caller, we've gone long enough with this. We gotta get some more calls here. So thank you for your call, and call back next time, depending on whatever subject we're talking about, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, man.
The guy in the chat will give you a super chat, which BDA is going to read in a minute. Look, the fact is, that we're not saying he doesn't deserve the fight. We're just saying he ain't all that good. I mean, what? Open your fucking ears. I'm not saying he don't deserve the fight, because Canelo's fought guys that had no business in the ring with him. But the fact is, we're talking about his ability now, and I just don't whether he's overhyped or he's a boogeyman. He's certainly no boogeyman. I mean, come on, man. I'm no fight every morning worried about him.
Yeah, I can say to him, I've been in the ring, and I'd much rather be. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll do it real quick, Gonzalo. I've been in the ring, and I'd much rather fucking fight a kid who might be slick without the fucking tar on his punches, because getting punched in the head real hard is fucking sucks a lot worse than having to track somebody down. They just might make you look fucking not as good, but I'd rather get fucking face. The worst person to fight is a boxer puncher. That's somebody who's got a little fucking foot skills, great balance, ring IQ. Triple G is light years ahead of fucking Andrade just from the people he fought. Like, people don't realize, because he does the 1-2, he throws a jab, that it's like he says, he boxed. He said he boxed. He has a LOL, or he has the same prefix as his phone number as mine. So he's from this area. That takes skill. Triple G does is skillful. I just hate that fucking knocking in one dimension.
These people
just
believe
think, look,
can I just say something? These people believe that fighting inside in the pocket, it means that you're a low-level type of boxer with not a lot of skills or IQ, but a guy that moves around, doesn't do shit. Oh, his IQ is off the charts. I mean, get the fuck out of here, man.
Tell James Tony that.
Yeah, and one thing, look, just think, this is not triangle theory, but just to put it into perspective, and this is why, because Jack Culcay, he's technical, and he's aggressive, and he presented a lot of problems to Demetrius Andrade, but you got to realize, this guy's 5'7" or 5'8" tall. If Andrade's biggest attributes, his biggest assets are his length and his reach, and the fact that he's a southpaw, he fought someone that's a little bit better technical than his other opponents. Now compare these guys to Triple G, Kovalev, and Canelo. Culcay was just decent enough technically and aggressive enough, like the three guys that I just aforementioned, and he gave Andrade problems. So his technical brilliance is not that brilliant. And Andrade, as it looks, because some guy that gave him problems was a short fucking guy at 5'8" tall by the name of Jack Culcay.
That's right. And
they never want to mention he was kicked off fucking networks. Think about it. They were like, dude, they signed him for a 5-fight deal at HBO. A 5-fight deal. I'm sorry. It was a 3-fight deal. He did 2, and they said, "Here's some extra money. Go away." That's how bad he was. It was almost as bad. Hey, did you guys see Boots Ennis? Fucking Lipinets, the viewer numbers for that. Woo! Hold your fucking
they're
nose.
missing out.
Yeah, but I used to hear the same excuses. I used to hear the same excuses about Rigondeaux. When Rigondeaux can sell out a bingo hall, and everyone's going, "Oh, he's being ducked," and the fact is, it's just he was asking for far too much money and bringing nothing in return. I mean, look. This guy, obviously from Cuba, you don't expect him to have a big fan base in America, but at least put on a show then. At least Golovkin's from Kazakhstan, he can get people to buy his tickets. So you've got to go and put on a show.
Stu,
Rigondeaux was on
Stu, in regards to Rigondeaux,
and
he couldn't even sell in Miami. I mean, and that's where the Cuban fan base is in America. Is
that's where Casamayor got his big takeoff. That's where Hurtado got his big takeoff. It's in Miami, and he can't even sell there.
But Ennis is going to gain momentum because he's exciting. He might not sell now, but he will sell later. Just watch.
No, it's not his fault. I wasn't digging on him. I'm just saying it's the PBC.
Yeah. All right. We got to go back to the phone calls. PBC does. Yeah. Listen, we got to get back to the phone calls real quick here because they're piling up. 619, you're on the air. 619, what's on your mind?
Yo, BDA, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, man. What's on your mind?
Sorry, I'm on a kind of a weak connection out here. Yo, thanks for getting me on the show, man. Look, I'm looking forward to the Andrade fight this weekend because it's an opportunity for him to show us that he's not a hype job, that he's the real deal. Of all the 150 guys, I think he's the only one that has a chance at beating Canelo. But he's got to prove something to me because if he doesn't, then he's going to live up to his nickname, which is Boo, Boo, because the fans, when they see him fight, they go, Boo, Boo.
So
and his father was smart. His father said, hey, that's your nickname, man. That's your nickname. They're not booing you. That's your nickname. You're Boo Boo. But actually, they're saying Boo.
They're saying Boo Earns. Yeah, listen, what's the benchmark for you for this fight? I mean, what does Andrade have to do to prove that he is indeed the Boogeyman?
I got to see a knockdown, man. I don't think he's going to get a stoppage, but I got to see at least one knockdown. I want to see some aggression, man, because when his father, who is his coach, talks to him in the corner, he always tells him to, be more timid. Like, don't risk yourself. Don't put yourself out there. And I think that's the last thing. I think Andrade, he's a late bloomer, man. He probably fought a little scared his whole life, okay, so he doesn't lose. But now he's 30, 33 or something like that. He doesn't have a lot of time left. So he's got to change up his style, and maybe he's got to show us something a little. And I think maybe sometimes these late bloomers, they get desperate and they say, you know what, man, I'm tired of doing all this other old style. Let me try something new. Let me step out a little bit. And I think that's what we're going to see from Boo Boo Andrade, man. But thanks for getting me on the show. I know you guys are packed today. Hot topic, Hypejob or Boogeyman. You know what it is. It's Bolt Hype in the building.
Oh, it's Bolt Hype. Okay. Thank you for calling Bolt Hype. Catch you on the next one, man. All right.
I guess the biggest point of contention is that if Triple G, the real Boogeyman, a devastating puncher, couldn't knock out Canelo, then nobody else could. And I understand that point. So we got to transition to the other side of the spectrum. The boxer, the runner, the guy that tries to score points while not getting hit. Right?
Yeah, that's true, man. Like Bolt Hype said, maybe Andrade is going to try to, because he tried to do a little bit against Sulecki where he tried to slug it out a little bit in the early, not slug it out, but try to be more aggressive. Then he got tired because he's not used to that. And then he just did the same thing he always does, which is to make a guy miss, wing a couple of jabs, a couple of big left hands, and that missed, by the way. And that's how it went for him. Let's go real quick to another phone call. 401, hold on a second. 401, you're on the air. 401, what's on your mind?
All right. I just wanted to add something else really, really fast. So we keep talking about Demetrius Andrade's resume, but at one point we were calling Triple G he was the Boogeyman at one point, but let's look back at his resume. If we take off Canelo and Danny Jacobs, who has Triple G fought? He fought a Kell Brook that came up 2 weight divisions. David
Martin Murray,
Martin Murray, really?
Well, what's wrong with Martin Murray?
Gabe Rosado has like 11 losses.
But hold on, caller. You can't just say Martin Murray and then just move on. Like what's the problem with Martin Murray?
Yeah.
There's levels to elite boxing. I know you guys are UK fans, but Martin Murray, he's not anything elite.
Okay, but then let me ask you this, man. He's not anything elite, and how did Triple G handle him?
Easily.
Triple G knocked him out in the late round.
Right. And did he lose any rounds? Did he get dropped himself? Did he struggle?
But are you comparing? Where are you ranking Martin Murray? My whole argument is that Triple G's resume, if you take out Canelo and Danny Jacobs, there's nothing that amazing on there.
Well, you're taking
Okay,
away
well,
the two best. Hold on, fellas. One at a time. Hold on. Gonzalo. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, please.
Mark Murray is better than anybody on Andrade's resume. So if you want to compare resumes, let's try and bring up the conversation a little bit because you're kind of lacking.
Danny Jacobs is
they were
better
all
than
ducking him.
anybody.
They were all ducking him at the time, but you got to realize that Triple G got a belt right now, and he could be Charlo could be making a fight with him, and he's not. So currently, Triple G's still a champion.
But how much money has he been paid over his career? Didn't the WBC champion Cardo pay him $800,000 to go away?
Hold on, because you guys are. Hold on, Jimmy, because we're getting into.
I'm talking, Carlo.
Yeah, because we're getting. Yeah, Jimmy, we're getting into the offers and all that. Let's stick to the resume. Let's stick to the resume.
My point being, that's part of the resume, dude. When you make fight offers to champions and they turn around and say, not only won't I fight you, you're ranked number one, you mean the belt is trying to make me fight you, and you call them up and say, I'm going to give you almost $1 million so I don't have to fight you. And then when what's his name lost the pen at the last second? Chavez, Martinez, so many people openly told Tom Laughlin, no fucking way, man. He isn't even in our preview.
There's levels to this game. There's levels to this game, and Triple G won the more rounds against Canelo, man. Honestly, let's be honest. Come on.
Yeah, that's the other thing, caller, because we're talking about resumes. Okay, so you discount Martin Murray, but he was a top middleweight. He arguably beat Sergio Martinez. He arguably beat Sergio Martinez in Argentina. Triple G goes in there, wipes the floor with Martin Murray, which, by the way, hasn't been stopped since or beforehand. Triple G did that.
Yeah. He's washed up now.
And I know what you got.
He still hasn't been stopped.
And he beat Derevchenko at 38 years old. He went to war with him, but he beat him. Let's take a look at Andrade's resume. Martirosyan gets dropped, goes life and death with him. Jack Culcay, good fighter, goes life and death with him. Almost gets dropped in the last round because he's so exhausted. I mean, do you really want to compare? And then you say, well, let's take away Danny Jacobs and Triple G.
Did he win or not? That was off for almost a year and a half layoff.
Okay, but that's an excuse right there. Look at Triple G. He's wiping the floor with these guys that you consider to be B level. But okay, but he's handling them like he is an A level guy. Andrade is not doing that when he's facing lower level guys.
And also the thing is, I hear what you're saying, but also the thing is, these guys know on Andrade's resume before even the pros. He two-time national champion amateur, two-time Golden Gloves, and he won gold in the Olympics. These guys know he's no slouch. They're not running to jump in the ring with him. This guy in the
Olympics, he didn't win gold in the Olympics.
What Olympics did he win?
He never won anything. He won the Olympics.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Did he even make the Olympics?
No,
he might have, but he definitely didn't. He definitely didn't win a gold medal.
This ain't the amateurs, man. How many amateurs have success in the pros? The pros are chasing you down for 12 rounds, and they're headhunting, man. It's not like fucking 3 rounds, 4 rounds.
Okay, but did we finally hold on? So hold on, can I just say something? So did we? Hold on, can I say something? So did we establish then that Triple G's resume is better than Andrade's?
Yes, we did.
Of course,
then I don't understand why we're going back. I don't understand why we're going. I don't understand. I don't understand why we're going back. I don't understand why we're going back to the. I don't understand. I don't understand why we're going back to the. I don't understand.
Why are we going to the amateurs? Why are we going to the amateurs?
That's what I'm trying to say. Why are we getting back to the amateurs, caller? What does the amateur system have to do with that?
He was saying that the amateur people are afraid of him because of his record.
If you're asking
Look at Triple G's amateur record, far better than Andrade's.
Wait, caller, go ahead.
He knocks you out. And fucking what the fuck, yeah.
Caller, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, my whole point is these guys aren't running to jump in the ring with him because they know his background, they know his pedigree. The same thing happened to Andre Ward. Andre Ward whipped everyone in the amateurs. When it came to the pros, it was tough to get fights in with him. When Triple G started becoming a superstar, why didn't he fight Andre Ward? Andre Ward was on the back leg. That could have been a big fight.
Hold on, fellas. Hold on. Please let him fit.
Let me respond to that.
Hold on. Guys, we can't talk at the same time. He's making a point and you guys jump in. Let him finish and then Jay, you can jump in. But go ahead, caller.
Thank you.
Finish your point.
What point?
Right. Yeah. No, I'm like completely lost now because I just keep hearing them scream. But anyways, all I'm saying is, like, if we're going to just hold Andrade's resume against him, we got to start picking apart everyone else's resume.
Yeah, that's what we do on this show.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's what we do on this show.
Okay,
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay. Yeah.
Okay, so we can pick apart anyone's resume. I can make Floyd Mayweather's resume look like it's an embarrassment if I go the route you're going. And you're going to argue with me about it, I'm pretty sure. But we're not going to jump down that rabbit hole. What I am going to say is, first of all, you mentioned Andre Ward, who was an injured fighter with no representation and inactive, who had no manager and no promoter during the time he was calling Triple G out. It's a false narrative that was put out there. It's not real. There was never a contract sent. There was nothing legit about that other than Andre Ward trying to posture himself to stay relevant while he was inactive.
But Jay, even to the point even more, when HBO sat down with Triple G and Andre Ward, and this is out there, Ward never denied it, they asked him, will you guys fight? Triple G said, yes, I'll fight him. And Ward said, no, right now I got shoulder issues. I got other things to go. All right, now fast forward. When he did call out Triple G, people are going to remember, listen, when he said, I'll fight Triple G, he was in a training camp to fight Paul Smith after being out of the ring for 2 years. It was supposed to be a 168. Ward said, no, it has to be 172. After that fight, when asked, will he ever fight at 168, he laughed and said, you kidding me? 175 is getting hard to get. So if we were to believe he would have fought Triple G, so he would have fought Triple G after 2 years out of the ring, completely emaciated with no warm-ups, but yet he needed 2 for Kovalev. It is a false narrative. It was never going to happen.
All right, now let me ask the caller this, man. Because, caller, we can go around doing what we're doing now with the resumes. Now we're talking about the Ward. I don't know how we got to that because we're supposed to be talking about Andrade. With Andrade,
every black kid yells Andre Ward when he mentioned Triple G all the time.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. So let's get back to Andrade, though. Caller, Andrade, what has he shown you in his performances that he could beat a guy like Charlo or Canelo or Triple G? Like, what are you seeing?
Because they all have the same weakness. These guys are boxers. They want to come forward and want their opponent to stand there and trade with them. When Canelo looked weak to me, in my opinion, when he looked weak to me, was when he fought Lara. Lara was able to move around the ring, and Canelo had to chase him down. He didn't look good in that performance.
Yeah, but it's different fighter now.
Are you going to
different fight? You're talking about a different guy.
100%.
Yeah, but you're bringing up a different guy that don't exist anymore. Canelo is not that guy anymore.
Are you going to listen? Are you going to listen or no?
Well, no, because you're not telling the truth. Well, you're talking about a guy that don't exist anymore.
So what they have problems with. So basically, my point is what Demetrius Andrade brings to the table is what they have problems with. He's rangy and he can move. These guys want a standing target, and that's not what he is.
Yeah, and
so I feel like he would.
What Andrade has problems with, Canelo does also. I mean, let's be real. Explosive punching, world-class combination, accurate punching as well, by the way. Andrade's going to be target practice in there, bro. That ends whenever Canelo wants it to.
100%.
I mean, anyone could run. Anyone could run.
That the best experience you get is inside of the ring, and that's been many, many years removed.
You're talking about the
I'm going
fight. Yeah.
to vouch on the caller's behalf on this because he's got to point the fact that he's going on a what if factor, from my opinion, from where I'm hearing from, that Andrade is tall, lanky, rangy, and can move, and he himself with these skills should present problems to these guys. There's nothing the caller's saying that's wrong off of that. Yep. However, what he's saying is that Stu anchored in on. Stu, I'm not trying to speak for you, but Canelo against Lara, Canelo still won that fight. That was not, it may have been a close fight, it may have looked bad, but Canelo still won that fight. And if anyone had to come out the winner, it was Canelo. That's right. And the best that Andrade can hope for is to make Canelo look bad in that. And that's just my opinion. As far
as because
hold on, Gonzalo.
Go ahead.
Well, just 1 second. I'm almost done. As far as Charlo and Golovkin, that's a different story. It's 2 different fights, and he may pose issues with them, and they may make them look bad. But what our panel is saying, caller, and this is no disrespect to you, is that we don't think he's got that skill based off of what he's shown us with the second-rate opposition he's fought and accepted and challenged and made offers to, that he can make anything other than look bad. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see some people. They're like hyenas. They're chomping at the bit. Well, if Triple G, of a devastating puncher, mind you, with good boxing skills, couldn't knock out Canelo. Let me see, like the Pharisees. Let us prove our case. We're gonna go to the other side of the spectrum. The runner, the guy that can punch. Right? Yeah. Okay. And like Jay said, that's an honest statement. It could happen, but that's many years removed from the Lara fight. He's got
Sorry for
skills.
cutting you off earlier, Jay. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, you know
I
what,
was gonna say,
caller?
sorry, Jay. Cutting you off earlier, dude. I'm sorry, Jay. Just wanted to
No worries,
apologize.
Jimmy. No worries, Jimmy. Back to the caller, though. Let the caller finish.
Yeah, well, listen, I just want to say this to the caller. Caller, I think, look, we're not going to the route of calling people bums, because we've had people call in and say, Andrade is a bum. We're not saying that. But we're still questioning whether he can actually beat a guy like Canelo, Triple G, or Jermall Charlo. I'll say this, though, and that's because I said in the beginning of the show, Andrade is very slippery in there. Especially when he's on a full gas.
I would say this. I think Andrade has a good chance of beating Golovkin now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
he does have a good shot. He can outpoint him, and and the judges could be favorable to someone like Andrade. I could see that.
He's about to become a grandfather. I should hope so.
Who's about to become a?
There's no way Charlo
I give him a shot.
Demetrius Andrade don't beat.
Where I don't give him a shot, caller. Here's why I don't give him a shot. I don't give him a shot with Canelo because I do get the feeling he has the style to make Canelo look, make it an ugly fight, make him look bad. But he's not winning on points. He's not going to win on the scorecard. They're not going to be favorable to him over Canelo, a guy who's younger. Okay, here's the key thing. He's younger than Demetrius Andrade, and he's more experienced, and he brings way more money to the table. He will not win that fight. Yeah, he will not win that fight. He would have to knock Canelo out or dominate him for 12 rounds. And the realistic chances of that happening, that's basically a star.
And when you don't fight, you don't get better. You get worse.
No, I
you
agree
lose
with
that shit.
that.
And listen, nobody was a bigger fan of Andrade than me. He made me look stupid coming out of the amateurs because he's from my backyard. I was all about him, dude. All about him. And it made me look like a donkey 10 years later. Yeah. So listen, coming out of the amateurs, this kid had talent to burn. You know what I mean? I thought he was going to be a great pro, and then a lot of off fucking business. I mean, I heard he's into the partying, like the fucking women, like the coke. So I just said enough. I carried his torch 10 years, and he let me down.
Okay, Coke. Come on, man. Yeah, Coke. Whoa. Okay, but listen, caller, we have to move on to other calls, but I'll give you the last word before we move on. All right, man? Go ahead.
No, definitely. What the last guy just said, I completely agreed. Like, it'll be really hard to beat Canelo on the scorecards, but I just feel like Andrade's skill set, he has what it takes, and like some people are just calling him a bum, and I completely
He's not a bum.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's
nobody on this panel, right?
Yeah, we don't think he's a bum on this panel.
No,
I don't think
you guys are going in saying he's boring and he's trash. And
he is a little boring. He is. At times, he could be boring. Yeah.
Okay, but then if you think he's boring, just say I'm a casual fan and I just like to see knockouts. All I want to.
No, I'm not a casual fan.
No, come on, get out.
Not a casual fan.
I'm sorry, we need to cut him off on that because none of us are casual.
You don't underestimate.
So to be a hardcore fan.
Yeah, I love boxing. I've been watching.
You've got to,
I've probably been watching boxing before you were.
Don't say I love boxing and then say this guy's boring.
I've probably been watching boxing.
Boring. Super boring.
I'd rather play chess than watch Andrade fight. I'd rather play chess.
Oh, bullshit.
Super boring.
Anyway, listen, I guess
this guy on his panel fucking spent 30 hours a week on podcasts, but they're just casuals.
I guess Vladimir Klitschko was.
Andrade could send a glass eye. And the funny thing is, the funny thing is that people say, I hate it when people do that, when they say, oh, you must be just casual fans if you don't rate Andrade. No, I'm not. The fact is, I've seen hundreds and maybe thousands of fighters through my life, and I know what world-class talents are, and he's not one of them. He's a good fighter, and that's about as far as it goes. I mean, what is all the fuss about? Look, when Liam Williams knocks him out, then what are you going to say then? I'm not just saying if he does. Then what are you going to say? I mean, you're going to have to come on and tell us that we're not
if Liam
casuals.
Williams knocked him out, he's not who we thought he was.
All right, well, listen, we'll find out Saturday, man. I mean, if he beats Williams, and I think he's the favorite on paper, it's another step forward, man, because all he can do right now is win, like Bernard Hopkins back in the late 90s, and hope that eventually he gets a big fight. So, caller, thank you for your call. Call back next time, and we'll catch you then. All right, man? Take it easy. Have a good evening.
I don't know. I've been noticing a little pattern. This guy's been rubbing some people off the wrong way, and I mean, it seems to be a pretty hot subject. Like Butchers like to say, spicy. But anyway, this guy, Demetrius Andrade, he never shows up with the girl to the fights. He's always alone. And, we live in this era that, these callers that are calling in, they sound a little feminine to me.
Oh, come
on.
You
know what I'm talking about, right?
Wait a minute.
PDA, can I say something real quick, dude? Some of the best boxing minds I know never stepped a day in the ring. So that whole you need to have fought to understand talent is so fucking absurd. That one just about pisses me off more than any of them. And listen, I boxed, and I know how stupid that is. Yes, there might be nuances people might not know about, but nothing that their eyes aren't going to tell them as far as if a fight is good. But I just want to say that.
Jimmy, what did Emmanuel Stewart accomplish in the ring, and what did Eddie Futch accomplish in the ring? That's all I got to say.
That's
the best boxing minds ever. That's all I got to say.
That's an excellent
bad
point.
narrative.
And by the way, we got to get to a couple of super chats too. I haven't forgotten them. But we got a final phone call here, right? It's the wild card. We got to go to the wild card line here. 111, you're on the air. 111, what's on your mind? 111, going once. Are you there, 111?
He's lost for words.
111.
I think we kept him on hold too long and
fell asleep.
I can actually hear him in the background though. 111, going once. Going twice.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, asshole.
Put the candy down. Stay away from the kids.
Anyway, I think he's trying to set up a
I
speaker or
understand
something.
people who tell us that we need to like that type of style, the boring style. I mean, what
We
the
don't
fuck?
have to do anything. Listen, this is the thing about life and just capitalism, making money or whatever, right? We don't have to do anything. It's up to you to convince us that we're gonna, we want to watch you, and that's
If he's such a great fighter, why don't you put him in there against Willie Monroe or Billy Joe Saunders so they could stink up the joints? Two fighters on the back foot trying to make it into something else other than getting into the pocket and fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's.
You need to see a puncher against him. You need to see a puncher against Demetrius Andrade so you can see, the fucking boxer beat the puncher because he's gonna run all fucking day, all fucking night. I mean,
And it's always the demographic that doesn't buy the pay-per-views and doesn't travel to the fights, telling us that we're not true, we're casuals. You know what I mean? It's just amazing.
I mean,
So sorry, BD, it's your show. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I talked enough, man.
So yeah, I'm kind of late. First of all, glad to be back, guys, and thank you for inviting me onto the show. I didn't say it to begin with, but so Demetrius Andrade, there's a little bit of a winky right to this, and I'm going to put this out there because most people don't like to listen to it, but Winky Wright is in the Hall of Fame. You look at his record, and other than overweight Shea Mosley and a shot Trinidad, he doesn't belong in there because Bronco McCart's 3 wins over Bronco McCart don't get you in there. Losses to Julio Cesar Vasquez, Harry Simon. And even though he maybe should have beaten Fernando Vargas, don't get you in there. But everyone thinks he's this great fighter because nobody wanted to fight him. Well, it just so happens that he outpriced himself 90% of the time when it came time to Oscar De La Hoya and other fighters. And that's why he didn't get those fights. It wasn't because they were scared of him. He wanted $15 million to fight Oscar De La Hoya. You're not going to get that. You're not. So that's why he didn't get those fights. Andrade,
that example. That was a great example there. Triple J, man, Southpaw, you fucking nailed that, man.
He's not Triple Gonzalo. He's not Triple J. Like, how many times I gotta say it's J? It's just it's a boxing chief.
Just
not
J,
Triple J, man.
Or boxing chief, whichever one is easier.
Yeah, boxing chief.
But it is a good point. Gonzalo's right. Gonzalo is right. It's a good point. And like Gonzalo said, look,
that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. Winky Wright was an excellent fighter. He had I'm not saying he was like blazing, but he had tight defense. He used the jab pretty good. He was a really good fighter, but a guy who at one point started
the shit out of me.
Yeah, he would bore the shit out of most people. I mean, but he was good. He was good. I mean, he was outside of those wins that the fat Trinidad, that he fought, and I'm trying to think of who else. Corte, who's washed up, and then the real close, the close loss to Bernard Hopkins. He didn't really do anything.
So recognize when it comes to, I know we're talking about Andrade, but let me wrap this up on Winky. So you put this out there. I wouldn't actually watch the Harry Simon fight. He didn't win that fight. It might have been somewhat competitive.
It was
but
close.
He didn't win that
close.
fight.
He lost.
And he clearly lost to Julio Vasquez. He got knocked out. Those were not
dropped
slips.
5
Those were
times.
not slips. Those were not slips. Those were not slips. I've watched it live. Well, not live, but I've watched it online. He got knocked down 5. You don't win a fight when you go down 5 times. It's numerically impossible to win a fight after you've been down 5 times. So he had.
Because that means you lost 5 rounds already. That means you lost 5 rounds.
So if you're actually being tested by those 2 guys, what makes you think you're going to beat a prime Trinidad? I know it's a triangle theory, but when you can't beat those 2 guys, what makes you think that you might have deserved that fight? Don't get me wrong, but what makes you think that you were going to beat a De La Hoya or a Trinidad at the top of their game when you struggle against those guys and you struggle against an old Corte and what was that, Sam Solomon? When you struggle against these
Andrade.
Guys, what makes you think that you deserve to beat these guys? And then when Andrade is in the same situation, when he struggles against this C-rate competition that he's been fighting, because that's what his resume is made of, what makes you think you're going to beat a Charlo or definitely a Canelo? Because you're going to have to move up in weight.
The fact he was asking, remember when with Triple G too, like I think it was 2017, 2018, he was talking like he wanted between $5 and $7 million to fight Triple G.
He wanted more money than what Triple G was going to get. In other words, how does that work out?
Controversial, man. Yeah.
How does that work out? You're the challenger, and you're going to fight Triple G, the more famous boxer, the more established guy. You try to knock him off, and you're asking to get more money than he would get.
Well, that's what Wright did against Shane Mosley when they first negotiated back in 2001, and then the fight didn't happen. It happened several years later. So I mean. These
he beat Sugar Shane Mosley. Forgot to say that too, but Sugar Shane Mosley, who was just coming off of 2 losses versus Vernon Forrest.
Actually, he was coming off the Oscar De La Hoya win when this fight was first being negotiated.
I mean, like he wasn't fighting the Sugar Shane Mosley who just beat De La Hoya the first time.
Yeah, plus
that's the one. That's the one where y'all priced
Winky Wright's like a middleweight compared to Andrade. Andrade is one of his attributes. He got size. He don't got power. He's not a puncher. And this is what he brings to the table. And you know what? There's a difference between ducking and you know what this fighter, he's strong. He's going to come to do. He's going to try to get away from you. He's not going to try to make it into a fight. He's trying to get away from you, and that's the way he's going to try to win the fight.
Right.
By not fighting.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes it's non-fighting. That's essentially what it is. It's hey, I'm
right,
not going to fight. I'm not going to engage. You have to come to me. And then when I tap you once, that's, I won the fight. I mean, it's a weird style, man.
That's why I say, look, he might beat an old Triple G. I don't think so. I think Triple G will still beat him. But he might beat a guy like that. He's not going to beat Canelo like that. I don't even think physically he could beat Canelo like that. But let's say if he did made it ugly, it was a close fight. Who's getting the nod? Him or fucking Canelo? Like, that's not. There's no reason. There's no reason.
But people want to take it more seriously. Why hasn't he tried to take on Jaime Munguia yet?
Well,
because Jaime Munguia, because you see what Jaime Munguia is high risk, low reward. That's what it is.
Hey, hold on. Before we continue, to the table. I really got to get some. We fell behind here. We fell behind here on some super chats real quick. Get these hands says. So Beefy Smith, James Kirkland, Brandon Adams, Steve Rolls, Vanis Martirosyan, Rocky Fielding, Chavez Jr. and Yildirim deserve these fights, but not Andrade. Well, I don't know if
he talking about Canelo.
Yeah, he's talking about deserves. No, nobody said anything about deserves.
I mean, did he offer them a contract?
Well, we can write these down and get back to him. He's got to read these super chats. Let's let him finish these.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good point. Thanks, man. Real quick. So Texas Bulldog Boxing says, did the numbers for the Yildirim fight come out yet? Okay, we're going to get to that too. Get These Hands says, we're going on about Andrade who won a title from earlier, like Charlo isn't the original email champion. Is it Charlo or is it Haney who's the original email champ? I forget. I don't follow this shit.
Okay, yeah.
But thank you for the contribution. Slight Tendencies 87 says, Andrade is a cherry picker, #garbage truck juice. Oh, I wouldn't go that far, Slight Tendencies, but thank you for the contribution as well. And then again, get these hands says, question, wasn't Triple G's Mando some years back Derevchenko and he ducked him to fight light middleweight Martirosyan after
Triple
he hadn't
G's
for 2 years?
Mando was Derevchenko, and he ducked him, you saying? Or did
It
he
was
fight
the
him?
next person in line, but he didn't lose his belt because. And didn't Canelo say if you do fight him, I won't fight you a third time? I mean, a second time. Remember, that was the thing too. He didn't. Because,
Yeah.
No, Canelo demanded it. Said you better not fight for whatever reason. I didn't really get into why.
Triple G
And it was a
should tell him
couple
to
other
fuck
reasons
himself.
too. Yeah, that whole
Triple G.
fucking he ducked Derevchenko is a crock of shit. That just didn't
Because
happen.
he ended up fighting him. The one that, look, if you want to say if anybody did duck Derevchenko was Canelo.
No,
I don't think. I don't.
Fighting
say
Charlo the
Canelo.
second time is like Charlo's fighting fucking Taylor. The second time
I
when
don't-
they
and I
knocked
don't
him out, he
consider-
was damaged goods. Yeah,
I just
the
see it
first
as a
time was
business
dangerous.
move for Canelo. That was just a business move. That's what he.
And listen, you know why Andrade is not fighting Munguia? Not that Munguia is an exceptional fighter, because he displaces his foot movement well, where he glides across the ring. Remember when he fought Saddam Ali? Andrade doesn't have the quickest feet. He's tall, long, and gangly, where he creates separation with his feet, but he's not a puncher. If Andrade cannot, if he cannot knock you out, and the fighter he's facing is not respecting Andrade like a Canelo or Triple G, those two guys are gonna walk Andrade down, because Andrade don't hit that hard, especially in the latter half of the fight.
Exactly.
The reason that Andrade is able to be crafty enough, because he's long, tall, and he gets away from his opponents. But if you're not respecting Andrade's power, these fighters will close the distance like Canelo and Triple G. Munguia
That's an
displaces
excellent
himself
point, man.
well.
That's an excellent
Yeah,
point,
alright,
man.
that's
Yeah,
all I
and,
wanna
and
say.
it's an excellent point, man. Yeah, and that's why we want to see what he can do against Liam Williams. Liam Williams, I do think is a good fighter, but I don't know if it's up to him to set the pace too and outwork Andrade in there. Real quick, Steven Schneider's contributed with the super chat. He says, jokes aside, Andrade better handle Williams inside 6 with all the shit he's been talking about. Being ducked by proven boxers. That's a excellent point right there as well, Steven Schneider. I mean, this is the thing about talking so much, like Ryan Garcia talking so much shit of I'm gonna knock Davis out, Haney, blah blah, and then he ends up fighting Fortuna, who's not a bad fighter, but it's just compared to all the talking he did, it's kind of a disappointment. Real quick, let's go to, let's try this one more time. The wildcard line. 111, you're on the air. 111, what's on your mind? Are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, 111, we can hear you. What's on your mind?
Okay, so this is not really about Andrade. I want to know what's you guys' obsession with the LDBC.
When's the last time we did a video about the LDBC?
I think they're wonderful individuals, and they just want to make boxing about friendship.
Yeah,
Hey, did you check out the playlist that we have where like all these LDBC guys make excuses about
When I
the
smoke
wild
when I
fight?
smoke weed,
You should
I watch
check it
the
out, man. I think
LDBC.
you're gonna love that
So-
content. I think you're gonna love it.
So like,
When I smoke weed,
no, the reason I'm
when I smoke weed, I
What was
watch
that,
the
Bucho? What video? I'm sorry. What was that?
You know the
Bucho?
playlist about the LDBC make excuses, try not to laugh.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah, no,
all.
that was a good one, man. There's some good. Yeah, listen. They're middle-aged men who literally make up fucking stories to get clickbait. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, actually.
It's kind of funny to me, actually. I enjoy it. But go
Yeah,
ahead,
an
Colton.
obsession would be that we're talking about them all the time. This episode, we were talking about Andrade, so I don't know where the obsession.
Somebody asked that. Were you obsessed with them?
Yeah.
So I want to hear this caller. I want to hear this caller. I want to hear what he has to say.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Listen, I thought he said, "What do we think of them? Why are we obsessed with the LDBC?"
Yeah, he's asking
Because
a
they're
rhetorical
fucking
question.
race hustling scumbags, and they give boxing a bad name. But other than that, oh wait a minute, the guy who started it? You mean the dog breeder, the guy who breeds fight dogs? Are you shitting me? Fucking scumbag.
All I gotta say is I never heard of him.
child molester. Fucking talking about fucking Sugar Hill should die in a car crash because of a fucking boxing
Yeah, you got to
match.
admit that is kind of like
Fucking
wacky, right?
scumbags.
Caller, would you admit that's kind of weird?
What?
Caller? You know, talking to a
What
trainer, making threats that you're gonna do something, and you know, I don't know if there's a child
Hope he
molester.
dies, he said. I hope he dies in a car
Yeah,
crash.
telling a trainer because he trained a guy that beat, I guess, somebody that he admires in Wilder, that he hopes he dies. You think that's weird, or you think that's normal?
Oh yeah, no doubt, that's out of line. But my thing is,
What if he would have got somebody to beat the shit out of that guy? What if he would have said, you know what, you threatened me like that, I'm gonna get somebody to beat the dust off you. You think that would have been out of line?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, I guess that's
so no, but my thing is,
well, he's honest.
No,
you're more honest than the LDBC is, man.
So
let him. Please. Let the caller say something.
So my thing is, you see Mexicans, they rock with their fighters. Obviously Filipinos and a lot of Asians rock with Manny Pacquiao for obvious reasons. Why can't black fans rock with their fighters?
Can I ask you a question about that? Why you said Mexicans? You mentioned nationalities. Why don't you root for Americans? You're just rooting for the LDBC. Just root for the black people. That's a race thing. That's a nation thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a national thing. It's a race thing.
Americans are most human beings. It's in human nature to rock with people who look like you.
That's an argument. That's an argument. That's an argument. That's an argument. That's an argument.
But I was going to say, but it's a big difference from rocking with your own than degrading and saying disparaging shit about other races while you're doing it. There's a huge difference. One sounds like you're rocking with your race. The other one sounds like you're being a black supremacist.
Can I jump in on this?
Okay, but let's not act like it's a one-sided thing. Let's not act like only black fight fans do that.
Yeah, there's some Spanish fans and there's some white fans that go overboard. I agree with you. They
seem call their channels and complain about it.
We're not one of those.
Yeah.
If you listen to me, Canelo is technically one of my peoples, right? Because he's Latino, Hispanic, right? I don't like him.
No, you're cool. I don't have a
Caller,
problem.
before
but there's other guys on this panel.
Can you name other channels? Can you name other channels that are like the LDBC but not pro-black, maybe pro-white, pro-Mexican, that make the type of excuses that we've seen from the LDBC, where they claim that a floppy glove actually made a difference in the fight? Can you name me some of these channels, please?
Oh yeah, that's easy.
Yeah,
I can name two.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Which
Thunderdome and Johnny Boy.
All right, Thunderdome.
Any other channels?
Yes, Johnny Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
you said Johnny Boy and Thunderdome. You said it's easy. I can name you like 50 fucking LDBC channels.
Go ahead,
are you actually comparing the LDBC with Johnny Boy and Thunderdome? Those two channels?
I mean, yeah, those guys are small time, but let's not act like they don't exist.
Exactly.
So, but that Bucho's point is that there's 50. Hold on.
With that. Don't go somewhere else. Stick with that point. Let's debate that, because then we're all over the fucking place.
Well, I'll jump in on this part that until I was fortunate enough to become part of this panel, I never heard of I still call them the LWXYZ because I don't know what it stands for, who they are. And I watch plenty of boxing channels. I don't know who they are, what they're about. But everything I do see and hear...
But hold on. I want to go back to Bucho's point where he said he can name a whole bunch of LDBC channels that do what Jimmy said, that they're racist and they're biased to their own.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
The caller named two guys. That's two
Boy
channels.
And
Johnny Boy and Thunder. Which, and by the way, I completely disagree about Thunderdome. But so can you find at least two other examples of guys that do that? Other channels like the LDBC? Because the LDBC there's 50. Well, I'm exaggerating 50. Let's say 15. Can you find 15 other or 13 other channels that do the same thing?
No, because I'm not. I'm not really listening to them like that, but I know they're out there.
Well, they exist. So please let us know which ones you listen to.
It's cool to roll with who you rock. It's cool to roll with who you rock. But a lot of the guys, when who's this guy? Lomachenko, they discredit Lomachenko and with the whole Rigandao, and then he's not that great of a look. At least I'm gonna say that I'm Mexican, okay, but Mexicans can be nationalistic like me sometimes. We're gonna root for the guy, but at least I'm gonna say this for myself. Speak for myself. I can call talent for what it is. I can give credit to a fighter. If he's good, he's good. I'm not gonna say Lomachenko sucks. That's where it gets a little fucking suspect to me. Not with all the African Americans, but with some of these LBC fucking channels.
Let me make
listen,
that clear.
I'll say this, man.
Okay,
I'll say
so
this.
yeah.
We started this conversation. You started off this conversation asking, "What's your obsession with the LDBC?" Which I assume it was a rhetorical question, saying, "Hey, we're always talking about the LDBC." Can't remember for the life of me the last time Bucho did a video about the LDBC, because that's one guy here in this channel that he's the one that handles the LDBC thing. And Bucho, when's the last time you did a video on the LDBC? Months ago?
Okay, so the reason you guys did a video on the LDBC is because your main beef with them is what they're biased against for black fighters, correct?
You have to ask Bucho.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Hold on. Ask Bucho. Hold on. Let Bucho answer because he's the one that made the series of videos about the Wilder excuses. Go ahead, Bucho.
Do you think those excuses are pathetic? Do you think those excuses are pathetic? Yes or no?
Do I think the LDBC is pathetic?
No, the excuses.
The excuses they made. The excuses they made for
Wilder?
Wilder. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, but let's not act like Fury doesn't have like a history of,
He said, yeah,
shady
Bucho.
stuff.
He said he does find them.
He said he thought there was that most of it was pretty pathetic.
Did you find it funny?
Do I find it funny?
Yeah.
Yeah. The excuses they made.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I made a bunch of videos about it because I found it so ridiculous.
You can make it, but let's on the other side, you hear a bunch of excuses for Lomachenko. Oh, his arm, he injured his arm, or he's getting old, or he's too small. Like, I mean,
let me ask you this question.
Are you putting?
Are you comparing?
Hold on.
Are you comparing? Yeah, exactly. Are you comparing that with what Wilder fans said? Some of these Wilder, I don't want to generalize, but some of these LDBC guys said about a floppy glove, about
egg weights,
Wilder's skull being cracked. What else? All these excuses. Having egg weights.
His drink was poisoned by his own trainer.
Yeah, I mean, those excuses. Those are fucking insane fairy tales.
He was a blood sacrifice.
And they
I think I even heard that. Was he a blood sacrifice?
And you're even comparing Lomachenko's talent to Deontay Wilder's, man.
No, he's not. He's not doing no, Gonzalo. That's not what he's doing. That's not what he's doing.
He's not. But just look at that.
No, he's saying the excuses. He's saying that the excuses that was made.
Yeah, but you're disparaging Lomachenko.
No, Gonzalo. Let me.
No, Gonzalo. That's not what's going on.
He's not doing that. What he's doing is what he's saying is that what Lomachenko said about his arms and about the scorecards, how he thought that they were, fixed, for lack of a better word. He's comparing that.
Yeah, but recognize, I understand.
No, but he's comparing Gonzalo. Yeah. He's comparing that to the plethora of crazy, no planers, ghost shadows, conspiracies that Deontay Wilder.
Okay, anyway, listen. We're wasting time with this. Let's stay on topic. Because Bucho asked the question. I mean, the caller said, "What's the obsession with making the videos?" Those, like Bucho said, those excuses were outrageous. What Lomachenko did, you find it distasteful, you find it whiny. I agree. I don't think guys should be making excuses after a fight. They should just own up to it, and that's it. But he didn't come out and say that they were floppy gloves. He didn't come out and say that his water was spiked. He said the judges weren't on par with his expectations. And his manager made the excuse about the shoulder, and then he had to make. So that to me is vanilla. That's something that fighters do all the time, which I find unnecessary to do. But it's a far cry from saying that the wraps were tampered with, that there were egg weights, that an autopsy was made on a still living guy, that the suit was too heavy, the water was spiked, he was a blood sacrifice. I mean, you have to admit, about 15 channels said that thing and ran with it as if it was fact.
They're still saying it.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, it's insane, caller. Come on, man.
My main gripe. Hold up. So my main thing is some of the people on your channel or your show are definitely biased against black fighters. You always try and diminish Floyd Mayweather's legacy or Andre Ward.
Okay.
That's unmistakable. So
can you name names, please? Name the names. Name the names.
Doesn't matter. By the way, Floyd and Andre Ward have a lot of things.
I was the one who talked about Andre Ward, so he's probably talking about me. But haven't I said, and I've been going to fights a decade, probably before this dude's even been born, I said the greatest performance I've ever seen by a boxer was Floyd Mayweather against at 135.
Okay, but can I say
Say it
something?
all
We're
the
not gonna
time.
get into
But you know,
okay.
I'm just saying,
Bucho,
so
like hold on, Bucho. Okay, we're
You
not
mean
gonna
at
get into
130
that
against Corrales?
because I asked the names, but okay, we're not
Yes.
getting into the names. But
That
let's
was
go with this. And
unbelievable.
I gotta explain then. This podcast is a platform for people to come in here. We all have different opinions. That's why we have the disclaimer at the beginning that says the views expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views of the BDA organization. These guys are on here. We've disagreed about stuff. We allow people like you, caller, to call in. Anybody can call in. We have a Friday platform where we let anybody on. StreamYard, Discord, phone calls as well. We accept all points of views, man. Now, okay, well, sometimes we'll lose our shit when somebody says something that's completely outrageous. But the point of this podcast is freedom of speech. Whether we agree or disagree with it, we want to hear what people have to say. So sometimes people come in here and okay, are some fighters anti-black? I don't know. I don't think so. But if you think so,
Yeah, we're not in their heads, right? Yeah, we're not in their heads.
Oh, definitely.
Sometimes we could take an educated guess. Maybe sometimes we could take an educated guess. But look, you know, I'm not trying to qualify myself, but I'm going to give you an example. I'm on the show a lot, right? There's a couple of fighters that I don't like right now, but I would never call them bums or anything like that. I might use that, sometimes to piss somebody off, but it's not. If you listen long enough, you would know that we have respect for these fighters. One of the guys is, you brought up Andre Ward. Andre Ward to me is a bit of a hype job. Andre Ward was a bit of a hype job, but he is a great talent, no doubt. Okay, he had a lot of favoritism in his side. So did Floyd Mayweather. So does Canelo Alvarez. These are guys that I've, off the top of my head, that really leave a bad taste for me when it comes to talking about boxing. But those guys have great talent, and I would always say that they have phenomenal talent.
Hold on, let the caller reply, please. Let the caller reply. Hold on.
Around the world.
Gonzalo, please, because if somebody if one of the panelists makes a point, we gotta let the caller reply. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah.
So no, your name is recognized, right?
Yes.
The guy that just talked. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, I don't have a problem with you. You and Stu, the British dude. You guys are both unbiased. You guys are cool. But it's some of the people on your show, for example, when you guys invite Steve Kim, I know for a fact that guy is definitely biased.
All right, what fact? All right, tell a fact.
It's his opinion. We're not gonna who cares, man?
Yeah, well, listen.
I just wanted to hear his fact. He said he had a fact. So a fact, usually when I hear somebody say a fact, it means you have a known actual incidence of racial bias that you could label somebody with that. So I'm just saying, what incident did you hear about?
No, sometimes you can just tell. You can tell with some people.
Okay.
Well, we can tell a lot of things as well, so don't complain.
Hey, by the way, okay, hold on. Well, I'll tell you what, though. It works both ways, man. You can't just say, I have a feeling. Oh, I have a feeling this guy's a pedophile.
You're pro-black, and you're super pro-black, and you don't like that. That's why you don't like us to make fun of the LDBC, because you're pro-black. How's that?
Yeah, that's an assumption that we can make as well. Now, hold on, caller. You did mention one name, and you said Johnny Boy. Would you like to talk to Johnny Boy? He's calling in. He says he wants to talk to you because he wants to defend his name.
Okay.
Put him on.
Let me put him on. All right. Hold on a second. All right, Johnny Boy, you're on the air.
You got something to say?
Yeah, Johnny Boy. Do you have the same energy when you're in front of a black dude when you say the N-word?
Oh.
When I say what's good, my nigga, yeah, I do.
Yeah, exactly.
That I know,
like,
that I grew up with, you fucking ain't right, I do.
See, like, you can do that on a phone call or over the phone, but can you do it in real life?
I don't know.
Hold on. With all due respect, Johnny, this is bringing down our show, and I don't want to be a part of this.
No. Hey, he called me out. I'm calling in. What do you want from me?
No, I understand,
Johnny. I'm on your back.
Can I just say, I don't have any man telling me what word I can and can't say. I find the word offensive, and I find it offensive when I hear black people call each other. And I'm going to tell you that. I don't use it not because I'm afraid of what someone will say, and never because I'm told I can't. I don't use it because it's an ugly slur. I just don't think it's a good thing for the show. That's all.
Yeah, like you said, anybody that uses
stop acting like a Tommy Tough nuts all the time, Johnny. Oh, you're my friend, man. You're
No,
better
no,
than that.
look, BDA, hold on. Let me say this, bro. When I'm around the cats I grew up around, I can say whatever the fuck I want, making a blink an eye, homeboy. Don't question me and tell me what I can say and can't say and all this other. I don't know where you from. I'm from Chicago, though, bro.
All right, how about this?
Yeah, we don't play that shit.
May I make a suggestion? May I make a suggestion to both callers, to Johnny Boy and 11111? What do we call you, 11111? Like, you got a nickname or?
No, I don't have a
Triple Ho-Ho?
Okay, hold on. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard the show before, but we got a platform called the Kumite, where it's two people go in, only one goes out. It's a debate show. Would you like us, again, we can, you guys can take it, make it personal and start attacking each other, or we can resolve this through a boxing debate. I'm pretty sure you guys must disagree on something. So would you guys be willing to step into the Kumite and hash it out there? What do you guys think you could do?
I'm always ready.
No, I'm not. I'm not really a talker.
Okay,
I don't really.
Hey, check this out, homie. Listen to me real quick. So since you don't want to do that, what did you not like about my boxing opinions? What did I say that pissed you off? Go ahead. I'll wait. Let me hear something.
I don't know. You seem to have something against Floyd for one.
Floyd's a
don't-
pussy. You goddamn right. I got something against Floyd. He destroyed the sport that I love.
90 seconds.
I kind of second that sometimes.
Really? I don't constantly. Hold on. So I don't constantly come out here and praise Sean Porter, Regis Prograis, Danny Jacobs. Is that what you're telling me?
Those are the lightest skin guys, man. Come on. Yeah, those are the lightest skin guys. Come on. Man.
Oh yeah, I'm not a Crawford fan. I haven't defended Crawford from Precise on this very show. Is that
all right,
what
so
you're
listen,
telling me?
so what you guys are telling me is no Kumite.
60 seconds.
I'm in BDA. I'm in BDA.
Okay, but okay, I get you. But 111 doesn't want to do it. So at this point, I don't know we have to end this calls then, because I don't want you guys fighting over nothing. And if it's not going to be a formal Kumite, then we got to go, man. All right, fellas. So 111, thank you for calling in. Johnny Boy.
Yeah, no, it was a good call. Got everybody riled up, man.
Let me say something before I go. Let me just say one more thing. Let me just hang on. Let me just say one more thing. Next time you got a problem with something I say, come to my channel and tell me about it. Okay?
You're on this show all the time. I can call you out if I want to, bro.
Oh, well, so do it then.
All right.
Cool.
All right, I did it.
Goofball.
All right. Well, listen. I think
you wouldn't have that same energy in person, bro.
He hung up.
Anybody can get loud over the phone.
Yeah. Well, listen. He hung up, man.
This is
So
my problem.
But hold on.
bringing our show down.
Gonzalo, real quick. I just get Gonzalo, quick. We just gotta say bye to the caller. So, caller, thank you for your call, and appreciate the feedback. And if you want to call in next time, go ahead and catch you on the next one.
Right, call. Be safe, by the way, man. And nothing personal here, kid. Seriously.
Was that okay? Well, anyway.
Just wanted to say that.
All right, take it easy, caller. Thanks for your call, man.
All right, Gonzalo.
It's just this is my problem with Johnny. He's always trying to act like a Tommy Toughnut. But anyways, wouldn't you agree that this is the problem with when you become a follower of a bin, you're gonna get failed. You're gonna get let down. Isn't that right, my brother, a boxing chief? Amen. Amen to that.
Can you repeat that?
When you become a follower of men, you're gonna always be let down by those.
Oh yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
I've said it before. I've said it before. The only one you can follow that won't let you down is Jesus Christ, and that's a fact. Everybody else, you put them on a pedestal, and they're human beings, just like we're all human beings. We're all gonna disappoint each other at some point. So
men are driven by no matter who he is. I don't give a fuck if it's from the richest dude in the world to fucking the most omega man you could find. Every man is driven by his insecurities.
That's right.
Never forget that.
Yeah. Ever heard of a man called Samson?
Indeed.
Right.
Exactly.
He had a few insecurities of his own.
Oh yeah. He was trying to
make ever walk.
When I don't like it, what Johnny said, Gonzalo said, what like, and I'll be honest, I'll tell Johnny too. In today's climate, it's just very. Whether I understand he calls his boys that growing up in Chicago, but when you do it over social media, and people who might not know his background and they hear that, I'm just saying you can understand why they're getting all fucking freaked out. I don't agree with people telling another man what to say. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. That's my thing. It's just it's just look.
Well, if I can jump in on the last call real quick between the caller and Johnny. He
Thank
obviously
you for
likes to
using
recognize.
Blog Talk
He
Radio.
likes to.
Goodbye.
Sorry about that.
But no worries. He doesn't seem to know who the rest of us are. He listens to the parts he doesn't like that he wants to try and rile people up with. He calls it out. When someone calls him out on wanting to do a debate, he backs off. And, I mean, we just didn't need that for the show. I mean, I appreciate the fact he wants to call in and have his free speech. You know me, I'm all about that. But then when you're going to call into a debate show, then call into debate. If you're going to call in a name call and drop a few things and stir up the pot, and then when we call you out to try and back your point, you're going to back off, goodbye. We can hang up on you now. It's bringing the show down. It's bringing the quality of the show down, and we don't need that.
I agree with Jay.
But
Yeah,
he
you're right,
lost
man.
me.
You're right.
Yeah, and he lost me when he compared to Lomachenko. I mean, remember, like you said, BDA, right? Lomachenko, he complained about a judge, which that judge scorecard was obscene, and he actually did have surgery that following Monday. All the other shit about Wilder, literally he went into hiding for months, waited for a bunch of grown men to make clickbait videos, and then picked the most things he thought he could go with, but multiple excuses, and it's absurd to even compare the two.
Yeah, Bucho made that great
And
point.
I would
He's the one-
admit, man, Lomachenko was a little sour. He was.
Yeah, that's
there's
what I
nothing
said.
wrong
That's
with
why.
that.
Yeah, that's why I said he
Yeah.
was acting whiny. I mean, if we were biased, we would say, no, he did the right thing. He's a real man. He's our king. Have we ever called Lomachenko, who we do respect as a boxer? We're not fans of him on a personality level, and that's the other thing. When people say there's a lot of people that hate Lomachenko but like Wilder. I've never understood it, and nobody's ever explained to me how you can be a fan of Wilder, who has done bad things outside the ring. Meanwhile, Lomachenko has never done anything bad outside the ring, and yet some people like Wilder and hate Lomachenko. I mean, I understand everyone's different, but I see a big disconnect in how you judge one guy's character and like him, and he has a bad character, and then the other guy has a moderate character. He doesn't seem to be a horrible person. Doesn't talk trash. But
I can see BDA. I can see one parallel that it's kind of look. This guy, I mean, Deontay Wilder was undefeated. Lomachenko had lost one close fight against Salido, but he remained undefeated for most of his amateur career and was given a good run as a professional. That the guy had the mentality of a winner. Remember when Chavez lost? He was a little bit of a whiner too, right? It's these guys that are always used to winning. That I can understand both guys in a way, but one guy took it too far, and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, and can I say something else too, man, about Steve Kim? Because he said Steve Kim. Oh well, again, like Bucho said. But like Bucho said, Steve Kim. The caller said, Steve Kim. I got the feeling that he's biased. Well, a feeling. I mean, you can, like Bucho said, you can call anybody based on a feeling, something that you any type of accusation. But Steve Kim, for Steve Kim's defense, he was pretty high on Jared Hurd. Back when he was undefeated. In fact,
he's pretty complimentary about Andre Ward, a guy that on this panel we have conflicted opinions on. You know what I'm saying? He's like, look,
but
Jimmy, you're cutting off, man.
Andre when he was fighting too much, he did
Jimmy, you're cutting off, man.
Jimmy, you're cutting off.
I'm sorry. I know.
Anyway, what I was trying to point out is, look, if you criticize somebody, you're always going to have their extreme fans jumping on you. For example, here, we've criticized Canelo, and the Mexican fans go, "Oh, you're self-hating Mexicans." Then when we criticize Triple G, we get called Canelo lovers. So it just so happens that we happen to be boxing fans. We try to call it the way we see it, because sometimes we get it wrong. Obviously, we're not perfect. And that tends to get some extremists out there riled up, and they attack us. But anyway, Jimmy, go ahead. You want to say something?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you? Oh, okay. No, I was going to say with Steve, this is it. He didn't like Andre Ward when he was fighting, because Steve is about this. If you give it your all in the ring, he doesn't even give a fuck if you have a winning record, because he respects anybody who gives it their all and doesn't make it. The games. Listen, everybody. I don't want to go into the history of Andre Ward. Everybody knows it, but Steve will also call on he'll call out bad behavior, because it's not. Steve loves the sport, and when you do shit that doesn't make the sport look good, he's not like these other reporters who'll just, I don't want to talk about it. He'll call it out. And if happens to be a lot of black American fighters, Broner, and we have to go down the names, get in trouble, do stupid shit, and because Steve had the balls to call him out for it, where Mike Hoppinger and nobody else will, you say that because you don't like black fighters. But Steve will say, okay, and the minute white fighters start doing it, or Asian fighters start getting arrested and beating their girlfriends, I will be the first one to shit on them. But anyways, that's my point. Steve's not racist at all.
I mean, if you're a boxing fan, man, dude, some of the greatest fighters are African American, man. They're black. You don't even have to say it. We all know this. Some of the greatest things in boxing, they are. I'm not gonna keep slobbing motherfuckers knob just because they want to keep hearing something that is not happening nowadays. If I like a fighter, I'm gonna say it. But I'm not gonna keep saying a false narrative when it doesn't deem for it to be necessary for it to be said. And Steve Kim, he's Asian. That's why that guy's not quite sure. I mean, what is the guy supposed to root for? You can't decide your mind because he's not he's not white. He's Asian. He sounds white.
Can I just say something too? Can I just say something too to this point? And it is what it is. It's a fucking fact. Majority of hate crimes against Asians, we know where that's coming from. So it's always weird that it's always them that seem to jump on him. But yet, listen, I want to say one last thing about Steve. When he found out, we DM'd back and forth about Hagler, right? And he even said it on the show. He was devastated. Like he said, I haven't hurt this bad since I lost my dad. And that, because I was like, and me the same thing, because that's how much love and respect Steve had for Marvin Hagler. Does that sound like someone who fucking hated black fighters? So it's so absurd, and it actually offends me. Sorry.
To the point that I would like to move on, if you guys don't mind, to something more boxing related and less political.
I just wanted to defend Steve.
I fully understand you wanted to do that, and I respect that, Jimmy, full-heartedly. I really do, because I respect Steve Kim too, especially since I've been part of narrating with him on this show, and I've really, I really appreciate him.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't backing at you.
And you've defended him.
I was aggressive. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And you've defended him, but again, I mean, someone came on the show. They called for their opinion. They dropped their little evil seed. We've bought into it, and we need to quit watering it and letting it grow and move on from it.
Good analogy. Evil seed.
Well, I mean, boxing's always been a little bit about race, but especially now, people are gonna try to dig their foot down and I
always thought it was nationalistic. I always thought it was nationalistic. I was always pulling for the American.
Race. When I said race, I don't mean it by the bad way. Yeah.
Well, for you, it's not about, when you say nationalistic, it's race, because Mexico's mainly Mexican fighters. America, there was black, white, Asian, could be anybody, right? So for me, it was all about under the flag. But being from Mexico, it makes it seem like it's about race when it's only Mexican fighters. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean it's necessarily about race.
It's sometimes, look, I was in the Tijuana Auditorium back in the days, and you could hear the crowd tell, chanting, kill the guy, when it's a Mexican against Mexican. But when there's a black guy in there, it's also the same, kill the guy. But these are people that are drinking, they're fucking crazy. And it doesn't mean that, nowadays, what it means, that we're just gonna fucking, say, we're gonna hold a grudge, or that's what it necessarily meant before. I don't know, man. It's just, this whole race thing is always gonna continue. And if people say, you did it to me, but I'm going to do it to you, it's never going to stop, man. It's a personal decision. Racism is always going to exist, but it's a personal decision what you're doing in your life. The world's fucked up. It's never going to get any better, man. You're a fool if you think it's going to change.
I don't agree. I disagree with that. I think that the world can be better. And I think people are starting to, some people say we're exiting the Kali Yuga age and actually reaching towards some sort of enlightenment. So I believe in that. And I do believe in harmony. But anyway, listen, I think we went too far with this, because this is what some people fucking
don't I say all the time, dude? What boxing to me is empty without a great Puerto Rican champion.
That's right.
I'm not trying to qualify anything.
I agree with that.
But you know what I mean, dude? The sport isn't the same, because I grew up, there was always fucking Camacho before him, Benitez. I mean, there was always great Puerto Rican champions. So,
and by the way, can I say something?
Race, just nationality.
Let's move on. Yeah, listen, this whole race thing. I mean, because somebody said
our great athletes are being genocide.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just real quick. Shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution. He says, Andrade is neither a hype job or a boogeyman. If anyone barely knows about you, then you can't have hype. And if the fighters are calling you out and you can't KO your opponents, then you are no boogeyman. All right. Shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution. And look, I sort of disagree with the latter part when he says you're no. I mean, I think you can be a boogeyman if you're avoided. And that's the whole argument that some people make about Andrade, is that he's so good. How's he good? Well, it's because he's being avoided. It's a bit of a circular argument, but look, if he outboxes Liam Williams in empathic fashion, he can make a statement, because Liam Williams, despite his record not having a big name, he is a strong fighter. He brings it, and so I think that would bring Andrade a step closer to making something done.
I want to see what he does. I'm open minded to like him putting a good performance against a guy, a solid fighter like Liam Williams, and beats him, and he does it in impressive fashion. Of course, we're gonna give him credit, but the question is, how's he gonna go in there, and how's he, can he even win? Can he win this fight? I think he could, but can he beat Liam Williams?
He's a little crude. Yeah, he's improving, but I mean, I'm going to double down and I'm going to triple down on my statement. He's a horrible style that'll be a nightmare for a lot of people. But when has he really been the nightmare when he has close fights against the likes of, what's the guy
Culcay,
from...
Vanez,
the Armenian guy, the nightmare. Yeah, that guy and Sulecki, he is beatable. He is beatable.
And
Liam Williams is just toughen up, but he's got to make it rough and rugged.
And people got to understand, too, if he does lose, the problem is when you dance on the edge like he does and you don't bring in numbers and all you've really done is really just talk on Twitter, if he goes and loses, promoters are going to drop him like a fucking... You know how hard it'll be for him to fucking even get another fight? It's just...
I thought you meant dancing on the edge of the pocket. Dancing, that's what he does.
No, I mean, like you know what I mean? Like if he loses, man, think about it. It would be bad for his career. Real bad.
Well, guess what? That brings us back around to the Winky Wright comparison again. After what Wright lost to Hopkins, he took some time off, lost to Paul Williams, took more time off, lost to Peter Quill, and that was the end of his career. And he went out with 3 losses against 2 guys that weren't that good, and yet he's in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know what that's going to do for Andrade, seeing he's got 2 titles and he's undefeated for like almost 30 fights. But, if he gets dropped, they'll leave him on the shelf till he becomes cannon fodder. And then they'll bring him back, 2-time champion. We're going to put him in against this guy. He'll end up against Drawn Ennis 4 years from now. And it'll be against the former 2-time undefeated champion, Demetrius Andrade. So if he loses this fight, that's where his career's going.
I want to defend Winky Wright, but I don't want to get into the whole thing right now because it will take too long. But you know what, Jay, you and me, kumite. But you know what?
No problem.
All right. But I found out, we found out a couple of things in this podcast tonight. One thing we did find out is that Triple G, that Recognize and Stu are the least biased on this podcast. So there you have it. Recognize and Stu, you can hang something.
I always knew it came down to me.
Also, I wanted to say something.
They heard me. If they were to hear me speak offline, they would totally not like me.
And also,
most of them don't know who I am, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, if you keep coming on and people, you'll make a name for yourself. But also, the thing about Thunderdome, I heard the caller said that Thunderdome's a pro-white fighter. I mean, Thunderdome, I've gone on his show. He's been on here. He's one of those guys that you can talk boxing with for hours. He's a real boxing fan. He's not a guy that goes, I root for this guy because he's white, and I root against this guy because, you know what I mean? It's like, that's a true...
Oh, is that who... Oh, fuck, I didn't realize he was that dude. Yeah, Thunderdome's a good dude, man.
To call him a white supremacist...
He called him a white supremacist?
Well, not white supremacist, but he said like he's the white, on the white spectrum of the LDBC, in other words. Like he's
it's reflection of culture, man. Black people want to call up and just they have no problem saying, this white person's a racist, this person. It's part of them, and they do it all night on the news. Why not,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, speaking of Thunderdome, I saw that the stream he did. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. He did a stream last night. You guys were watching the
Arturo
Gotti documentary about his death.
Document, yeah.
Now, recognize you firmly.
It was pretty good, man.
By the way, I like the wisdom you and and OG Boogie and Don Thunderdome were throwing out about how this bitch knows exactly how to manipulate people around her. Like, she's sucking this guy's dick, she's sucking that guy's dick, so she's got him wrapped around her fingers.
His wife?
The ex,
you guys did that like the documentary, the whole thing, like about the
we went through what we did was we did the whole documentary. We watched it. We gave some commentary. Then we got into the discussion. We got into
I was watching it last night when I fell asleep, but I didn't get to recognize, and then I must have passed out.
Yeah, I could do that to people sometimes. For sure.
I could do that sometimes to people.
Hey, BDA, and can I just say something? Because you thought, did you give me my props, man? Didn't I tell you that Ennis was going to walk through Lipinets? Remember I said that he's really not going to put up any kind of I said he doesn't belong at welterweight. Was it you who was like, you said, I don't know if I agree with that? Or something. It might not have been you, but it was somebody on the panel.
I think it was me.
because I said he's going to walk right through him, probably stop within 6. And you were like, well, he's not really been stopped. And I'm telling you, he's just so small. Now, when you saw him in there, right, did you see that?
But he's tough. But he's tough, Jimmy. He's a tough. Look, this is where I disagree a little bit with somebody, everybody, or maybe nobody. But this is the beauty about. I don't have to agree with people. I can have my opinion, right? I think Ennis is pretty good.
Not on this show.
Yeah,
but that was my point, though. I said he was going to walk right through. I just said it wasn't. I said Lipinets. My point was that Lipinets isn't the person I'm going to judge his jaw by.
Exactly.
Because he's not a true welterweight. My thing is,
that
my
was a nice
answer is
knockout. That was a nice knockout.
Nice knockout. He looked great hand speed. I liked his finishing, and I have mad respect for the way he handled himself when Ennis was down. Lipinets was down. That was a classy thing. So I just want to say that. But I still don't know. Some people think that he could handle a big shot.
Some people think that he could handle that. He can give Porter, Spence, and Crawford a run for their money. They think some people think that he could win. I don't think so, but that's how.
Recognize. Why don't you just go ahead and say it was me? We talked about this earlier.
One of them.
We talked about this earlier today on the phone, so you know it was me. Why don't you just go ahead and call
me out? Jay. Well, no, I was talking about in general. There's more people besides you, but Jay's one of them. He's one of them that thinks that
Look, for me, that his biggest attribute, recognize he's got quick reflexes, and if his defense is lacking, this is the thing. If his defense is lacking, if he doesn't get hit and the fighter misses by a few inches, he's there to counter because he hasn't moved. He's still in place to punch. And
that's
if he gets hit and he takes the punch. Yeah,
and
if he takes the punch and he's big enough, and if he's big enough to respond because he took the punch, but he's not fucking swerving out of the way to readjust whatever he's going to try to do offensively, he's there to punch. So he's going to get his get back, whether you hurt him or not, whether he takes the punch, he's going to get his get back, and he punches hard enough and he's quick enough that when you're fighting inside the fire zone and you're exchanging punches, he's going to do damage too.
Attributes,
that's what I'm saying.
His attributes are definitely there. They're definitely there. I would pump the brakes if it was me. I would pump the brakes. I mean, if they fight, I'm a boxing fan.
Did you listen to what I said though? Did you copy that?
No.
Actually, we heard all of it, Gonzalo. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah.
Because me and Jay were talking about it, and Jay was bringing that up. It's one of his more obviously his noticeable weapons that he's capable of doing. But the fact that people are talking about him in that fashion, that they're talking about him like, yo, he can compete with these guys now, makes you say, all right, the guy proved something. So if they can make the fight now, let's make it happen.
I'll make a bold comment. I'll tell you right now. I skill wise, I rate him better than anyone in the PBC, including fucking Spence, without a doubt. Better twitch fibers. I'm telling you right now, he's got good hand speed. I would put him. My only thing is though, can he take pressure? Again, Lipinets, and that was my thing about my point. Wasn't that it was a dog against Ennis? It was Lipinets isn't good enough for me to say he's at that level yet, because Lipinets isn't going to hit him as hard as a top real welterweight will. That's all.
You're right about that. You're right about this, but it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this. He's got the boxing IQ to where I want to see the welterweight that can put pressure on him, because Spence even said himself, I don't have a bag of tricks. I just go and do my thing. Great. You're playing right into his hands. Given he's young, he's only 23, but he seems to have the IQ from the highlights I've seen and what I saw in this Lipinets fight, a higher IQ than Spence. Not experience, mind you, but IQ. You come at me like this, I've got 5 answers for what you're going to do. He already looks like
that's
he
right.
Okay,
and I've answered because I would say he can take pressure real quick.
Hold on. Let me finish real quick. I was talking to Recognize about my friend that taught me most about boxing with all the videos he's got and everything else like that. He called me the day after the fight. He goes, I just saw the next superstar of boxing. He and I are not guys that jump on the bandwagon too quick ever since Kostya got upset by Vince Phillips. Why did I know you were thinking about
Costa Zoom? Why? I don't know. We just fucking had like a mental connection there. This is what I was trying to say.
That was the last time that happened.
I don't think Jay was finished. Go ahead, Jay.
But I was a little bit skeptical. I saw him get hit a lot in those in against Lipinets, and my friend was like, it looked to me like he was purposely creating those openings to show you how much he could counter with and how many different things he can do, because he wasn't worried about what Lipinets can hit him with. Meaning, if he fights a Spencer or Crawford, he's smart enough to tighten up and use the angles instead of letting himself get hit. I don't get high on a fighter before they really prove themselves. But if this guy's blue chip, and I wouldn't put it all in. I would leave a little bit to reserve for some Virgil Ortiz, but I would put a majority of my stock in this kid already. That's just where I'm sold with this guy.
Gonzalo, you're gonna go, and then can I say something afterwards? Don't leave me out on the dust on this one. Go ahead.
No, yeah, sure. I saw two, three things that I could relate with what you're talking about, and I was listening, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense, and it could go either way. Look, I think he's got a good chin, and this is why, like you say, he's got 5 ways to answer back to you, as you were saying. Okay, he doesn't get out of the way because once you slip a punch, once the punch is thrown from the opponent and it leaves, from the shoulder, you punch from the shoulder, the shot is gone, and you could have the wherewithal to see the punch go, and you could slip it, and you're only moving slightly away from it. Hey, that punch is going to travel right by the side of your head because you got good keen instincts to be able to know that. And once the punch goes and you slipped it, you're in position to counter. And he's so fast that he's intent on landing the shot while keeping the ability to know that you're ever going to so slightly miss that he's going to counter you back fast and hard. And that's why he's remaining against a guy like Lipinets, that he can understand that he can do that. And he knows he can answer back 5 ways back to you. But if he were ever to be troubled against a bigger guy, this is why I understand he's that good, because he's a combination puncher. He stays inside that position and fucking fires back with the combo. Now, if he were ever to be in trouble, he can resort to being like Devin Haney, a fucking pop shotter from the outside, because he's got the quickness, he's got the length to do that, and he's got even the punching power to be able to afford himself that type of style even better than a Haney can. But since he's got the speed, and he does have the power, and he does have the reflexes, granted, fighting a smaller guy, he's staying in the pocket, and he's making the other guy miss ever so slightly to remain in position to punch with the whole fucking your body be under and up, and we can turn into his punch. That's why he's
You and I are on the same page. We're on the same page. BDA, you want to say something, please?
Yeah, I want to say something. First of all, Jay, you're welcome for everything I taught you. Thank you for the praise. I want to get back to what Gonzalo said about the Ennis's reflexes. You can't deny that his physicality has a lot to do with his success. That's not a knock on him, because again, I hate it when people say, well, if Mike Tyson didn't hit hard, he wouldn't be as good as he does hit hard. I mean, some people are blessed with hand speed, power, iron lungs, whatever, but it's nature. Jaron Ennis has incredible hand speed power. I don't remember saying that he wouldn't stop Lipinets, but I do remember saying that it wasn't going to be easy for him. And in a sense, I wasn't wrong, because he did get caught with some big shots. In fact, rewatch the second round when Lipinets landed a good overhand right, and for a split second there, Ennis's legs did a little bit of a dance. I bet you he saw white, but he recovered so quickly. Why? Because of his size advantage. Nevertheless, Lipinets managed to land a couple of overhand shots.
You caught that, didn't you? You bastard. Good eye, BDA. He did rock his world.
A little bit, right?
His right leg did a little Bambi. Yep.
And
his right leg just buckled just a little when he stepped.
But he was catching him with those overhand shots a little bit too much, right? Sometimes. And Joe Goosen told Lipinets, you gotta go after him. Don't leave distance, because then you leave him room to work and do what he wants to with those straight lefts to the body, especially that they were bending him over. Lipinets, bless his heart, fought like a maniac in there. He went after him. There was even a point where you could see that Ennis had to maybe lay back a little bit because he had to conserve his energy because of the fast start. So you saw a guy with Lipinets who, although he was undersized, he's a very good operator in there, and he was giving him trouble. So it makes me wonder what's going to happen if he faces somebody that can handle his power and match it, or and a bigger guy in a top welterweight, because I do believe at this point, Danny Garcia.
So you still got questions.
Yeah, I still got questions. Too. Look, I still think he could beat. Real quick. Let me just finish real quick here. If he fights Danny Garcia, for example, let's say Garcia stays at 147. If he fights Garcia, I think Ennis could dart around him and outbox him, but because Garcia, he doesn't like to push the pace. But Garcia is very good at setting up those overhand shots, and he hits way harder than Lipinets. So that would be my big question. Would he be able to handle those big shots from Garcia?
So you got the same question I have.
That's the key. You see, that's the talent, the eye test. Like, look, like you said, the fast twitch muscles, the elusiveness. He's obviously got power because he's mainly bigger than these guys. The conversation that I was having with Jay is like, look, the talent's there, but like, let's say before Spence would drown him. You know, you guys don't understand what I mean by that. I don't mean that in the literal sense. I mean that in their boxing. You know, everything you hit me with something, I keep coming at you. I keep coming at you. I overload your brain until you drown. You know.
Well,
that's not what happened. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let him finish.
Real quick. I'm sorry, Gonzalo. Let me just say this real quick. Guys like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford does way too much stuff for his inexperienced brain to handle. Okay. Another pressure fighter. If you can't hurt this guy, you cannot hurt him. He's a nightmare for you. You can't stop him from coming on the inside. He's going to be a nightmare for you, Sean Porter. Guys like that. And even Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia, I think he can outbox Danny Garcia. He might even hurt him. But I think that Danny Garcia is still dangerous enough that he could set him up, like you said, BDA. Set him up with one of those overhand rights or sneaky left that could hurt this dude and get him in trouble. And his young brain might let him down.
I think his young brain. Look, listen. I think excellent points. But this is one thing that I gotta say. I think his brain will respond because he's inertly, like he's got the quick innately. I mean, he's got the quick reflexes. Like like a Roy Jones. That if you hurt him, he's gonna be like a wounded animal, and he's gonna get back like a Tito Trinidad or Oscar De La Hoya. When his senses are gonna be like, "Oh, you fucking hurt me," the fucking bullseye on the opponent's head is gonna get so fucking like zoned in that his reflexes are gonna bounce back and have him to where he's gonna land a thud or a hard shot on his opponent. That he's gonna keep the opponent respectable enough that where he's gonna be able to recompose himself. And I think this was what Ennis got. He's got the size and he got the reflexes. If you hurt him, he can hurt you back. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Let me ask
now,
you
one more thing. With the Lipinets, he's a small guy, but I always thought he was a tough guy. He was a tough guy, and he was kind of like containing himself to where he was trying to thwart Ennis's offense to where he was kind of shelling up. When he got hurt, he tried to brace himself, but Ennis was grunting, and he was able to still punch through and break the other guys' defenses and Lipinets and knock them out. Mm-hmm. When the guy's trying to brace himself, he was doing that, and he still fucking got him out of there. Right?
That's raw power right there.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I was going to say, but like what BDA said, though, he got rocked, and I've never seen Lipinets, like he didn't rock. Wasn't it Broner he fought? No, it wasn't Broner. It was somebody else. Mickey Garcia. At no time did he even come close to rocking. I don't think Garcia. I think Garcia pretty much they went like life and death. That's what made Garcia go back down to one. But my point being, dude, right? Lipinets is the tough kid, right? He's just that fucking smash nose kid who's gonna pack a lunch because he's come to fight. And I think he's grown old over the last couple of years. Too, you caught him at the right time, and again, he caught him at the wrong weight class. He shouldn't be at 147.
He came in. He's a little. He's
getting hit by him than Crawford. He's a
short, strong, little stout dude. He's kind of strong, Jimmy, but I do think maybe that Lipinets brain was on overload, and he landed that fucking Hail Mary shot to save his life. That it was one of the best shots he could have landed, but still,
he was landing that thing all night. He was landing that fucking shot pretty regularly, actually. He caught him I think 5 or 6 times. He threw that. It's a hard shot to catch. It's that looping punch. It's not an easy punch to pick up.
Jimmy.
But now, if that was Virgil Ortiz, though, think about that kind of fucking power. Yeah.
Okay.
I just think he remained in the pocket because he's able to come back where when you're missing ever so slightly doesn't mean that they're always gonna miss. He got caught and he's gonna get caught whether he can take the punch going forward or not. But I still do think he's got the reflexes if he does get hurt. That you get yours, he's gonna get his back. I'm not saying
great
he's gonna
reflexes.
Win, I see some
great reflexes. I think he's got some of the best reflexes in the division. Sorry, Jacob.
But I think it's more than that. I think he's got an IQ that people aren't registering yet. I think he took some of these shots on purpose to try and prove a point that he can stay in there. I think he took these punches much like was it Wamba Lopez, the down at featherweight, was taking punches for some of those some of those Filipino fighters when they couldn't hurt him to try and prove his point. I think when he fights people like Spence and Crawford, that he's going to tighten himself up. He's going to start using those angles that we know he can make, and he'll probably do only those angles. And when it comes time to Danny Garcia, I think he'll pot shot the daylights out of him. You guys know that I'm not high on Danny Garcia to begin with at welterweight. Mm-hmm. Not all his entire career, but at welterweight. I don't think anything that Danny's going to show, he's going to have anything to fear. And he's just going to pot shot the shit out of him. My personal thing that I said to recognize earlier is that the person he needs to call out next for the step up, only to try to prove a point, is Adrian Broner. Because if he can beat down and stop Adrian Broner where no one else has, he's going to win that fight because Broner's not going to show up. But if he can put the beating on Adrian Broner, that's an exclamation point. Because I don't even think Spence would be able to stop.
No, not really. That's another small guy there.
But who stopped him?
But
who stopped him?
Weight wise, he might be shorter. He might be shorter than NSR.
Yeah, well, he's not 147 pounder.
Yeah, but he went back down to junior welterweight. He just missed the weight. He was supposed to be a 140 fight, his last one, because he knows he can't
never
fight
won anything at 47. That's what I'm saying.
He can't. He's too small.
Well, listen. In regards to Ennis,
Manny went the distance with him.
Right.
Mikey Garcia went the distance with him. Everyone's gone the distance with him. Only one person's put him down. If he goes in there and stops this loudmouth punk that everybody wants to see really get put out to pasture, there's a statement.
Yeah,
that's
because
all I'm trying to say.
I personally just don't want to see. I don't want to see Broner get another payday.
Oh, come on.
I'm with you on that, Jimmy.
The guy's got 8 kids. He needs some money, man. No, but seriously, listen, with Broner, he's like the Hector Camacho of our generation. He's fought a lot of good names. He loses to them, but he goes the distance. And so if somebody can stop him, I think that's a bit of a feather on the hat. Now, with Jaron, real quick, with Jaron Ennis, man, I think it was his corner kept telling him, straighten those shots up, because he was dropping his hands too whenever he would go for big shots, and he was having a field day with Lipinets. Like Gonzalo said, you could hear the shots, and he was breaking through to Lipinets, but he was dropping those hands. That's one thing I don't like. He's a little bit Crawfordish in that he can switch hit. He's got incredible reflexes, hand speed, but he drops those hands.
That's why I say, look, the talent is there, the mind is not. Look, I'm just going by my experience. I could tell by a lot. I could tell by a guy by his demeanor. He's not ready for those big dogs. They will fuck his world up. He will give them problems in the beginning.
That's just crazy.
He would give him problems in the beginning. Those guys will eat him up.
How limited was Roy Jones when he was young, but then later when he got old, he lost in reflexes.
No, he wasn't.
He kind of got exposed.
Roy Jones wasn't limited. He wasn't limited when he was young in terms of, if you mean skill wise. He was that was his attribute. He was just fucking
like a tiger.
Like a tiger. He was fast and it was like it's
he blink of an eye. When he was at his great.
Yeah, you couldn't. He threw 3 punches at you without you even before you even blinked.
How did he do it? Recognize? How did he do it? What?
Or he threw one hellacious shot where you thought that was the fastest punch you ever seen, right? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and again, what had my red flags, I always have red flags when a dude has that many pro fights before he's fought anybody. Like, why were they having him fight so many stiffs for so long? And my thing is always, why would they, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. He has almost double the pro fights as Lomachenko. Just like if you think so, like why has he gone why have they prospected this dude for such a long stretch? I just don't understand it unless that tells me that usually it's because they're trying to hide a flaw. Is he chinny? I don't know. I just know like what BBA said.
Jamie, his leg he's only 23.
Yes, but that's not young.
But 23
that's not exactly young. That's not exactly almost
young. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's prime. Guys. Benavidez. It was the pro at 17. I'm just saying, 23 is at his physical prime. I'm just saying, he's had a lot of pro fights. It just always makes me like, why were they still calling this kid a prospect at 26, 27 pro fights? When, you know what I mean? If he was high on his talent hasn't got that much better. Like, he still has the same hand speed. There's only so much you're going to work on. He's where he is. It's just, again, and I'm high on this kid. I'm super high on this kid. I just think they're hiding something.
Do you know what that is? When they put you in there with low level competition, what they want you to do is learn how to knock out people, learn how to beat the living daylights out of people. That's what they're teaching you, right? Then when they see that you've done it with, let's say, depending on who you are, let's say 5 to 10 guys, anywhere within that. Okay, so these fucking F- fighters, he blows them the fuck out. Let's now he did it in 5 fights. Let's just use that as an example. His next fight he's gonna fight a D level fighter. He knocks the D level guy out the same way he knocked out the F guy, and we're gonna throw him another D, and he does it again. All right, Then we graduate him. That's how a lot of these guys do it. For him to be doing that, and I think that they're picking up the competition. They're starting to feel comfortable now. That right? No, I get what you're saying. It still took a lot of fights.
It just seems a lot. Yeah,
it still took a lot of fights. Yeah, but I think they're now coming to grips that he can knock out the Lipyanets of the world. So if you can knock out the Lipyanets of the world, you're not too far from giving,
But he's only had Lipinets only had one other fight at welterweight, right? Didn't he only fight one other time?
Granted, and that's a good point. That's
what I'm saying. So, like again, he still hasn't fought a true welterweight of note. He still hasn't fought a top 20 welterweight.
Would you be surprised if Spence knocked him out in 6 rounds? Knocked out Lipyanets in 6 rounds?
If they fought tomorrow.
Lipyanets.
Oh, he would not. He would stop Lipinets. So yeah, of course he would.
Yeah. So I'm saying so did the reason I bring that up is so did we know that Ennis did it, right? So how far are they apart from each other? That's what we're gonna find out. Now I think
exactly
there is a gap. There's a gap between them, and I think
it's closing quickly.
This is my personal opinion, man. This is my personal opinion, and this is me using my boxing intellect. And I don't know too much about this guy, but this is what I have to say. I think he might not have the greatest of chins, but the guy loves to fight. He will not stray away from trying to fight inside the pocket. That he's an exciting fighter. Win or lose, he hasn't lost yet. Because the reason for this, he believes in his reflexes. Now, that might be stupid and a little bit naive for a young fighter to do that because he's getting hit and he's getting shook, but he's still believing in his reflexes to where he can get away ever so slightly from your punch, and he's so fast that he can catch you before you catch him. When you're training with him, that's going to be his undoing if he were ever to lose. But I don't think he's that much of a suspect chin that if he were that much, they would have him fighting from the outside because he's still a power puncher. He's still got heavy hands and quick reflexes that he can still beat you. Like Devin Haney, one shot at a time and make it into a boring affair. No, but he's sticking in there. He's glued to you. He's trying to, because he got size. Okay, we're going to admit that. He got size. But I don't think he's that chinny, but I do believe he believes in his skills and his mentality. I believe he knows he's a tiger. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, okay, so we're talking about what took him so long to get here. Let's stop and think about, outside of Mike Tyson, how many people did they try to push to win the title before they were 20, when they turned pro at 18? Devin Haney, 17. He just recently burst on the scene, maybe about a year ago? We've heard of him, but burst onto the world title scene, even if it's by email belt, about a year ago, right? Let's turn pro at 18.
I think
they're bringing him slow because he was a teenager.
Huh?
What's that?
Oh shit! I'm back. Yeah, I know the show dropped on me, dude. I don't know if it did it for everybody else.
Well, so where are we at then? So then, Jaron Ennis. We're still talking about Jaron Ennis, right? He's got people. Yeah. He's got people talking. Then, see, this is good because obviously Lipinets was undersized, but look. It would have been worse. How many times have we seen a prospect say, "Oh, this is a big test," or he's fighting somebody that's undersized, and then they go 12 rounds with the guy, or they're struggling. This guy took him out. That's what was expected of him.
Yes.
So,
no, exactly. That's what I predicted, dude. I said he was going to rock him, and take him out in 6 rounds, and I'm high on Ennis. I'm telling you right now, skill-wise, I'd say he's better than fucking Spence. I like his skills for my eye test right now. I'm telling you, he does everything that Spence does with better, quick twitch fiber, and he's in and out. I like everything. The only thing is, in 29 fights, even there's never a Roscoe. There's no heavy fucking gym guys who give you that fucking, even if he could be, say, 28-7 record, but has 25 knockouts. That type of dude. Okay. If you look at his past, there's just none of that there.
And can I say something too?
But one of the things I was trying to... Yeah, go ahead, BD. I'm sorry.
Just real quick, just one thing about Ennis. I was impressed that the first fight, his first big test in my eyes, was when he fought Abadeu. I think he's Colombian or Ecuadorian, he made Kavaluskas look real bad. I think it was Kavaluskas. It was either Kavaluskas or Baranchik, but he made one of those Eastern European strongmen look bad. And then he fought Besputin, and Besputin boxed circles around him, but he couldn't take him out. Jaron Ennis went in there and just beat him down and stopped him. So that's when I said, whoa, who is this guy? And now he stops Lipinets, and again, he showed a couple of defensive holes, but we can't really ask for more when he goes in there and
Chris Van
stops his guys.
Heerden. After no, Chris Van Heerden.
Well, no, that was a no contest but he looked like he was on his way to stop him.
What happened there, BD? I saw that on Boxer.
It was a headbutt. It was a headbutt, bad headbutt that split. It essentially gave Van Heerden a vagina in his forehead. It was a bad cut, but Ennis jumped on him real fast, man. I was very curious to see if he was going to be able to keep up the pace. But anyway, sorry, Jay, go ahead. I just wanted to throw that in.
So we're comparing to Spence and Bud and some of these guys, right? Even Porter and even Danny Garcia. All right, I don't remember how old Danny was when he turned pro, but Spence and Sean were in their 20s. Spence has already peaked. He's not past his prime, but he's already peaked because he turned pro at 22. This kid turned pro at 18. They're bringing him on a little slower because they've got the time to do so, and he's only making him better. Spence had to be pushed quick to the top because 22, and if you take him 4 or 5 years, he's 30 by the time he gets a title shot. He was pushed fast for a reason. Just like David Reed was pushed fast. We won't make it. They've got time to bring Ennis along, and they're doing it right because he was young enough. Devin Haney, even though I'm not sold completely that Devin Haney's going to be as great as I think Ennis is going to be, they brought him along at 17. They've taken their time with him, and now he's ready to be at the top because he's growing into his body. And they're doing it smart.
And it's different ceilings and different styles though. Errol Spence is not the same style as Jerron Ennis.
No, you're right. But
he's at his prime. What you see is what you get. Starting punching power, break you down, come forward, solid fundamental, keeps his elbows stuck. Throws straight punches, digs to the body with both hands. What you see is what you get, but he's a solid fighter.
But they didn't take their time with him.
I don't know the ceiling yet because the ceiling he's a little bit more brilliant in the sense that he's got that speed that it will bedazzle you. You know that is. But can such a talented young fighter really get a style down with superb skills that he's gonna hone that speed the whole time? That you're gonna define the style to be as such. Or such as no, the reflexes are always going to hit you when you least expect them. That's what he's got a surprising speed.
Gonzalo, when's the last time Spence? I'm asking you because I can't remember. When's the last time Spence stopped somebody?
Well, no, he's got that break it down. That's what I'm different styles. He's like Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez was not necessarily a power puncher, but
he could still. He took out some good names with early in rounds too. I just don't think Spence has the power that a lot of people think he has.
Spence is a boxer, man. He's very. You can see when he throws his punches. He's a boxer puncher. Exactly. He's got solid power. I don't
stop a fucking career super featherweight. I'll never forgive him for that.
I mean,
okay, so
I see it a little different. I see it a little different. I don't think Jerron Ennis could stop. I don't think Jerron Ennis could stop Mikey Garcia. In fact, I think that's a dangerous fight for him. I never thought for 1 second that Mikey Garcia could beat Errol Spence. Not for 1 second.
No, I don't think for a second I don't think for a second Jerron Ennis has anything to worry about for Mikey Garcia, especially at this stage.
I think Mikey Garcia is more of a threat to Jerron Ennis than he ever was to Errol Spence.
Well, I tell you what, man.
Okay, maybe. He has the tendency to break a knockout streak. Yes, I agree with that. He has a tendency to make him possibly look bad. I'm not going to argue with that. A threat to win at this stage of his career, and I'm not just talking about Jerron Ennis. I'm talking about a world-class welterweight. I don't think he has a chance to win to beat anybody except for maybe Adrian Broner at welterweight at this stage of his career, just from what he's taking care of himself, which only spells more disaster for him if Ennis goes in to want to prove a point against a junior featherweight.
His father threatened to stop going to his fight, being involved in his corner if he stays at welterweight. That's how pissed off. Well, dude, when he fought Lipinets, he went life and death at 140. Following the fight, his father was stone-faced at the press conference, pissed off. And when they finally got to him, he was like, I didn't want him fighting. This is not his weight class. He shouldn't be above 135. And listen, he was echoing that over and over. And what happens? He goes life and death with Lipinets at 140. Right after says that I just don't have the power up there. I don't have the snap on my punches as I do at 135. Went right back down and looked great against Easter. at 135. And what does he do? Heyman calls, I need the biggest pay-per-view possible for Spence. By far, you'll be the biggest. And he proved it because every PPV's gone down since. Sucked him up and went up for a cash grab at welterweight. Now he's going to try to hang around there. He's going to fucking maybe beat up an occasional kid, you know what I mean? But he's going to get destroyed. He doesn't belong there.
Now that you're speaking right now, it came to my mind that obviously Mikey Garcia's father knew that he was not going to beat Spence, just real fast. And I think Mikey Garcia also knew that. But look at Mikey Garcia now. He's a rich motherfucker. I'm not giving him props for that. He abused the system in an opportune time.
Yep.
I don't think he ever...
He got paid, what, $11 million?
He didn't abuse the system by himself, right? The system helped him. So I don't like Mikey Garcia. I don't like Mikey Garcia.
And now his brother fucking he's in on it, man.
Mikey Garcia
is a hot shit, man.
Mikey Garcia will be a good test for a guy like Jaron Ennis. He would be a good test for him. This is what I'm saying. You'd be making a foolish mistake if you think that Jaron Ennis is going to go in there in this next fight. It's not going to happen and beat Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Those guys beat him at this point.
Maybe, but they're not going to try and fight him right now anyway. I mean, after that,
there's no money. There's nobody's pushing that fight. Nobody's pushing.
And plus, we all got to just come to the realization too. He's with the PBC.
And not only that, Jaron Ennis is not. They're not pushing for those fights either.
Exactly. When the PBC, I mean, does Al Heyman ever match his fucking top guys tough ever?
Yeah, this is bullshit. This is the same as a 135. Ryan Garcia, fucking Gervonta Davis, fucking Ennis versus Ortiz, and those guys that you mentioned on the PBC side of the house. Man, that's bullshit, man. This fucking sucks, dude.
Well, listen, hopefully everything.
At least even Garcia's fighting Fortuna. That's better than fucking what. I mean, Davis. They're not even talking about who he's fighting next. This has been
he's
a
going
joke.
to jail. Isn't that kid going to jail?
Would a kid me in Baltimore with that DA? No way. He won't do the incident.
Yeah,
they'll give him a suspended sentence.
They'll probably give him the keys to the city. But listen, we've got a.
Yeah. They already did. They did last year, dude.
Oh well, there you go. But listen, I didn't know that though. By the way, Jesus. Anyway,
yeah, for real, they did.
Jeez, that's insane. But look, like you said, I was going to say that too. By the way, that he's with the PBC. They're not exactly known to sprout. I mean, look, they had right now. Ennis is in the position that Spence was prior to Chris Algieri, where he was knocking guys out, and people were like, "Whoa, who is this?" And remember the gym legends that were out there that supposedly he'd iced Bronner in sparring, and that he'd gone toe to toe with Mayweather in sparring. So Ennis is right there right now. There's potential, but just like the PBC did with Spence, as soon as he got that big fight against Kyle Brook, whoops! All of a sudden they ended up taking a year and a half hiatus by fighting Ocampo and then Mikey Garcia. So hopefully they don't do that with Ennis. So hopefully he can get the big fights. And other than that,
if they're confident with Ennis, you more likely would expect to fight with a guy like Danny Garcia next.
Yeah, hopefully
they're
we get
real confident with him.
I don't think why that won't happen, dude. Because Danny Garcia is not going to want it. He's going to want a light touch. He's going to 154 anyways.
And he's going to want
absolutely insane.
He's going to want to demand like 50 mil or something to fight Ennis. So
exactly. No, Heyman doesn't have the money for that fight. None of them have anything in the docket. That's it. Yeah, no, they're not doing any cross promotion. So if you think maybe him against Ortiz, that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
He hasn't done a cross promotion since Fury.
Heyman is going to offer him $2 million a bus pass. But look, listen, fellas, we got to go.
Maybe if they, yeah.
Real quick, yeah, go ahead, and then we got to go.
Where are we going?
They're not going to make. They're going to make those fights. They're going to make those fights. They're going to make those fights in the future. They're hoping that Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis will be there, 4 or 5 years from now, and we're talking about them in a mega fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that would be the ideal.
They probably will. They'll marinate that the way they marinated.
They'll announce it right after they announce Spence Crawford.
I think you guys catch Jimmy's drift.
I'm gonna wrap
up my side. It's a COVID. We got somewhere to go. We can't go out.
No. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm gonna since you're about to end the show, I'm gonna wrap off with this. I was telling recognized this earlier. Basically, the way I'm seeing things, especially with Ortiz and Ennis, and then we haven't mentioned his name yet at middleweight, and Tim Tszyu. If these guys are able to stay where they're at, with Tim Tszyu possibly floating between 154 and 160, if they're able to stay where they're at for the next 2 years, they take everything over because every last one of those guys are going to be 35 or older. And
Boxing Chief just threw a wrench into the whole situation. Tim Zoo.
I mean, we're talking. We started this whole thing about talking about Andrade, who's going to be like 37 by then. Charlo's going to be 34, 35 by then. And even though Tim Zoo is 26, that's only going to put him at like 28.
Yeah,
with a lot
Are
less
you
mileage
a
on.
Costa Zoo fan by any chance? There, Boxing Chief.
Well, yeah, big Costa Zoo fan,
Big
but
time.
I'm liking his son. I'm liking his son also. His son is turning out to be better than Chavez Jr. by far. So
don't be surprised. We were talking about. I was telling Jay, don't be surprised if you see like a passing of the torch. Tim Zoo versus Gennady Golovkin, middleweight.
That was a hell of an uppercut. He landed on Hogan. He dropped him. Didn't stop him with that. But remember that on the 8th round?
yeah.
Boxing Chief, that was a fucking textbook uppercut. Like the one.
So is this kid for real, you think? You think he's for real? I haven't really followed much of it.
He's good. He's good. He's good.
He's good. But I mean, in 2 years, all he has to be is good.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, those guys are going to be. They had long amateur careers. They had over 100 amateur fights. They've had a lot of pro fights. They've been sparring with each other, been doing everything else. They're going to be shop worn. They're going to be well past the age of 30 in 2 years.
Well,
they're going to be mid-30s.
Not only is he good, he can improve, but he's got his father's punching power. I saw that.
He does have his father's punching power.
Well,
So
listen, we'll
hopefully
continue.
Dana White buys the PBC and then makes all these clowns fight, or they hook up a Thriller. I don't know what's going to happen there, but
well,
I heard there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes because right now they don't have a platform. Really,
well,
PBC doesn't.
No, everybody's starting to really talk to. Now we're into almost fucking May, dude. None of their top fighters have anything going.
Well, didn't they say they were going to make a big
announcement?
They said they were going to make a big announcement with Errol Spence and one of the Charlos on the same card. That's what they were hoping for. So
yeah.
So you know what that's telling you? That the only thing that's telling you, that's not a big announcement when it's a pay-per-view. Sure. See, that's what he's doing right now. He knows every one of these guys now step in a ring. He's expecting it to be a pay-per-view. So he's shucking and jiving and trying to move everything around to make it pay-per-view worthy. Even though at the end of the day it won't be. Because if they fight all in-house, of course it won't be.
Of course, because the last announcement I heard was that I don't know who Charlo. It's the 154 Charlo. It's either the final unification fight for the WBO, or he's got some guy that has no hope of winning. Is the co-main event, meaning the later fight between and the next one down is going to be Spence versus Ugas, which means Spence is no longer the A side of anything if he's actually opening up for Jermall Charlo. And that's the last I heard of what was going to happen. But like you said, he's moving pieces around. We'll see what ends up being the final announcement.
Well, there we go. Hopefully, you guys, Spence is supposed to be a pay-per-view, isn't it? I heard that's almost 100%.
Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be.
Right, but
like you said,
it's a co-main event. It's a co-main event with Jermall Charlo being the top part of the main event. So if Spence is this A side of any argument, and he's going to be opening up for a Charlo brother, which, mind you, neither one of them have overly set the world on fire as quality of competition, even if they've won a lot of belts. Now you're opening up for that guy? Or what, are you really the A side to any conversation now?
Well, listen, that's an interesting point, man. Hopefully the PBC makes the fights happen. I mean, so hopefully they can get a platform because they do have a lot of fighters, or hopefully those fighters go somewhere else so they can finally get some fights. Either way, and you know what? We got to go, but we didn't even talk about the other mega fight between that Paul kid and Ben Askren. Fuck, we should have talked about that. Anyway, we'll talk about that super fight, one of the best fights in all of boxing at the moment in another episode. And so yeah, fellas, that's about it, man. Thank you guys for being on. Really appreciate it. I'm talking about Recognize, Jimmy, Stu, who was here earlier, King Butch as well, Gonzalo, Jay. Thank you, fellas, for being on, man. Really appreciate it. It was a good episode, man. Very good episode, as always.
Thank you, BDA.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you to all the callers.
Jimmy, have a good night.
Oh, you guys have a great evening, all right, man?
Everybody,
Be
yeah,
safe.
absolutely.
Peace.
I hope people were entertained, by the way. I hope everyone was entertained. That's what we offer here.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yeah, we got a lot of good phone calls, man. By the way, it was a question. Is Andrade a bum or is he the boogeyman? And I think we stand a bit in the middle. We don't think that everybody's afraid of him, but neither do we think that he's a bum the way some people claim. So this Saturday he's going to have a chance. That's the beauty of boxing. He has a chance to do to prove everybody wrong and take care of a solid fighter. So we'll be watching this Saturday. Don't forget the fight is taking place at 6. The main event takes place at about 6 p.m. Eastern time. So they are starting it earlier for the benefit of the UK fans. And yeah, that's about it. Shout out to everybody that donated the super chat. I'm talking about Brian, Jason Bornsky, Kenshiro, Chris K, Get These Hands, Texas Bulldog, Sly Tendencies, Stephen Schneider, and Virtuoso. Thank you so much for your contributions, fellas. Really appreciate it, man. This makes the BDA world go around. It allows us to maintain the infrastructure. And everybody that was listening, everybody that stayed on from the beginning till the end, thank you, fellas. I'm talking about Sean P, Friendly Fire, Tarvis the Chimp, Mr. Pigeon was in there, Black Lomachenko, Johnny Boy, Aiden P, Padja, Alan R, Lobito, that's Gonzalo, Boxing News, Gunnar Season, Chris Court, shout out to Chris Court, Triple JJJ, Swift, Sloan, the Fight Scout, Nordic Warrior, and everybody else, fellas, PSK, Grievous. Don't forget, we do hold our weekly Friday shows, open lines. Anybody can join, anybody. So we do the open Discord, StreamYard, whatever. You come in, it's your show. And don't forget to hit the like button if there's people still out there listening. And that's about it, fellas. Thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy.
Alrighty. And you and me, Kumute on Winky Wright.
Absolutely. I will not let Winky Wright be disparaged on this platform. No, siree, Bob. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. Take it easy. Oh, shout out to Truth Son, who says BDA Kali Yuga. All right, yeah, we should talk about that on Second Renaissance one of these days. Shout out to Truth Son for his contribution. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your nights, fellas.
Disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be alright, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
He just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.